Yay, we're live. I don't think pick me up. Oh.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the very first Mega Man Arena Summit. We are going to be jumping into an 8-man invitational with some of the best of our server. We have been running tournaments pretty regularly for a long time, and so we've been able to handpick a selection of our players. I am Kish Squared. I am not only the developer of this game, but the primary commentator for this event. And this is our first time doing a live stream on this, so we're going to have some fun here. So give me a quick minute. I've got to get a couple of settings down, and then we're going to get going here. I think I need to... hold up. In fact, one of the things I want to do is make sure that... where is it? Oh. I need to get this advertised on Twitter.
Post to Twitter.
So here we go. This one, this, and this should work. So I'm going to hope that this works.
I've got chat here. So.
Okay. All right, I think we are good to go. So I'll take a quick moment to review the format for this event. Let me try this and make sure that this is going to be work. Okay, good. So what we have is we've got our 8 players divided into 2 pools of 4. And so we're going to be running pool number 1 with our participants Danny, Jose, Soundwave, and Ader. And then pool 2, we have Flakes, Meat Bomb, Draco, or Hope, and X-Vile. So we've got pretty good representation. A lot of different characters are going to be seen during these matches. And after the pools are done, we're going to be seeding into a final bracket. So let me pull that bracket up. And that bracket looks something like this, where the top 2 from each pool will be seeded into a winner's bracket. The loser's bracket will be seeded with the 3rd and 4th placers from the 2 pools. And we're going to stream as many of these matches as possible. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our first match. This is going to be Jose versus Soundwave. So we are streaming from Jose's perspective. Soundwave actually can't see Jose's character unless Soundwave is cheating. And
he said that in chat.
Listening,
don't look at his screen.
Yeah, exactly. Stop watching YouTube. And we're going to jump into the match. So first and foremost, I am joined by Kishark.
Hi.
Kishark is going to be commentating with me. He is the creator of Hotman in this game, for those who are aware of Hotman's existence, accessible only through the super secret code that I invented myself. Mm-hmm. Definitely didn't steal from a completely non-Capcom game. But either way, Kishark's going to be commentating with me. Each of these matches is going to be best of 3, or I'm sorry, each of these sets is going to be a best of 3, and we'll kind of review the rules as we go. So at this point, I believe we're just waiting for Jose and Soundwave to lock in their characters and start the match. Jose is locked in. So the first round always exists from a double-blind perspective. Sound and Jose have no idea who the other person has chosen until they start the match. So, and the stage is going to be randomized. So the stage is randomly chosen from a list of stages that have been deemed to be neutral, worthy, neutral. So what we have is one of Dr. Wily's stages from Mega Man 2. This stage, if you play it with hazards off, with hazards on, is actually you'll see the Wily holograms and the alien shows up. But with hazards off, it makes a pretty good tournament stage. So already Soundwave's off to a pretty good start here with Magma Man. Got Jose down to his, well, took off his first stock before taking one here, but Jose's already starting to come back. One of the most important parts about competitive Mega Man Arena is managing your EP. And if you can get up a stock like Soundwave just did, but not hold on to your EP, it's pretty hard to deal much damage. A lot of characters are pretty reliant on their EP to do a burst of damage, let's say. So you might be able to get a few normal shots off, but that's going to be about it. So a very even match so far. This is a really great start to our match.
Got 17 people watching.
That is
It's more than you thought.
that has nothing to do with the match, but thank you for the update.
I'm kind of in chat right now.
All right, so what we have so far. So Needleman, boy, I gotta say, this is a great first match. Very even. So we're truly at even here. Jose used a little bit of EP to get secure the stock. All right, so Magma Man, when he activates his Magma Flame, he's not only invincible for a moment and pings shots, but then he also gets powered up moves, while also being a little bit more mobile while in the air. He gets a charged shot immediately with all of his shots too. So, we are locked up. Having a little bit of stream difficulty, but I did hear, oh my goodness. Well, that's super unfortunate that we missed the end of that match, but Soundwave took that with a single HP remaining.
That's crazy.
What are your thoughts, Kiss Shark?
Crazy. I don't know.
All right, well, unfortunately, we did have a little bit of technical difficulty there at the end.
Right at the end that it would disappear.
Yeah, that was super unfortunate. So here's the way that this tournament format works. What we have is Soundwave having the first win. Again, it's a best of 3. Jose gets to pick the next stage. Now, the stage options actually expand with relative to the first round. The first round is randomly taken from a smaller list of stages. Jose now has several stages available to choose from. Soundwave is going to be able to ban one of those, so they are in communications right now to determine where they're going to play next. So Soundwave is going to ban a stage from the list. Jose will pick a stage, and that will trigger our next set of choices, I suppose.
Soundwave's got a bunch of fans in the chat.
Jose, I will say this. Jose is one of our top-seeded players. In fact, he might be the top seed in this pool. I didn't check the seeds. And so Soundwave is the underdog in this matchup. So there wouldn't surprise me if there are a lot of Soundwave fans or people cheering for the underdog from that perspective. So once a stage is locked in, Soundwave being the winner of the last round will get to choose his character. He can stay as Magma Man, he can switch, and then Jose is going to be able to react to that by changing characters. So it's a huge advantage to winning the first round, because if Soundwave were to lose this round, then he ends up getting to, on round 3, pick the stage and react to Jose's potential choice or change of choices. So we are locking in on Magnet Man boss. We call it Magnet Boss for short. It's the boss chamber for Magnet Man. Again, in a tournament scene or a tournament setting, the hazards will be off. So even though there are those giant magnets on his stage, which is a little bit of a customization in our game relative to Mega Man 3, those big old magnets are off. This stage is a relatively flat stage with a couple of ledges up there. And so, we decided to get a little bit unique, I suppose, in our design here. So nobody changed characters. We still have Magma Man versus Needle. So there's a couple of interesting nuances to both these characters. We explained a little bit of Magma in the first round, where Magma right there can activate his flame. It actually has a melee hitbox, which he used to connect with a move there. It makes him invulnerable, and then also gives him a little bit of a power-up afterwards at an EP spend. The other aspect is what Jose is demonstrating for us is Needleman has this dive move, which allows him to plummet down on the character and deal a substantial amount of damage, actually. Soundwave, one of the brilliant parts of his game is he keeps using that magma flame to not only go invincible the moment Jose attempts to land on him, but also deal damage to Needleman after he's landed right there. So in that case, the magma flame didn't happen to connect because Needleman is also invulnerable until the cooldown is done, or I'm sorry, until he lands. He still managed to go invulnerable until, I mean, honestly, Soundwave's use of Magma Flame against Needle's dive attack is really helping him out here. Jose is having to use a lot of EP to try to close out this stock, and even if he does close out the stock pretty quickly, he's not going to have much EP left So Jose has a lot of hit points left, but Soundwave has a huge advantage in this matchup right now. Now, Soundwave's going a little bit conservative. There he goes. Okay, so now he's trying to really finish this off by using the Magma Flame. It's going to be really tough for Jose to pull this off without any EP. And Soundwave takes the set. That was
I think he handled that pretty well. Right at the end.
He got a little I was worried because at the start of the last stock, he started to get conservative, and Jose was relishing that because he was...
I was almost worried Jose was actually going to bring it back. It was interesting.
Well, from the... if you're cheering for Soundwave, you were worried for Jose.
They are.
Oh, okay, they are. Kishark has a close eye on the chat, so either way, it doesn't matter. Jose had an opportunity there if Soundwave backed off, and Soundwave was backing off and being a little bit conservative with his play to the point that it is Jose might have had a chance to get his EP back, but Soundwave then cranked up the aggressiveness, and he was able to finish him off by going into his Magma Flame. I gotta say, I have not seen Magma Flame be used to completely neutralize Needleman's melee attacks. That was really well played by Soundwave, and I'm not sure that Jose was expecting that. Any other thoughts, Kishark, on that set?
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna bring Soundwave into the chat while we're waiting for our next round. So, Soundwave, you want to go ahead and join the voice chat?
Here.
Soundwave, congratulations! That was...
Oh my god, that was so stressful.
That was quite a first set for our summit here, because I'm gonna... Don't take this the wrong way. I think that was a huge upset, so congratulations.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I saw Jose just a better player than me. I was not.
Well,
It was like weird because I didn't really expect that to happen. I decided to play something I feel very comfortable with playing, and I guess played well.
Well, I have to ask, it felt like, at least by the end, if not early on, you were intentionally using the Magma Flame to avoid the needle dive. Was that part of your strategy going into that match?
I have always played Magma in such a defensive way where I tend to just save that for optimal moments, but the moments were lining up to where I wanted to have it active and I wanted to block at the same time, so it just kind of worked perfectly with each other.
Yeah. No, I just got done saying on the stream, I have not seen that happen before, or at least not that specific strategy. And Jose ended up burning a substantial amount of EP on the needle dives that you just completely negated. And in Mega Man Arena competitive play, EP is almost more tied to your lifespan than your HP in a lot of ways. And so you really minimized his EP effectiveness and made the most out of yours. By you leveraging Magma Flame. So that was great.
I just saw like an opportunity where I could just like deny his EP while also gaining an advantage myself. And I just took advantage of it, and that's probably why I won.
Yeah. Well, again, congratulations on that. We're going to move on to the next round, I think. So you, unfortunately, no rest for the weary. You've got another match coming up. Who's your next match? I can pull it up here, too.
Okay.
You are up against... Oh, wait, that's the wrong pool.
Okay, I'm gonna head out the chat. I'm gonna go back to mute. Goodbye. Good luck, everyone.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Soundwave. And, Soundwave has another another tough match next in Danny. So, we are going to flip over now to the next round. I believe we've got... Probably getting pretty close here. I've got to... maybe adjust the volume here on this one. Hang on. Somewhere here. There we go. All right. Do time into for the chat, for everybody who's watching. Do let me know if we're having any issues with... Oh, whoops. All right, there we go. Let me know if you're having any issues with audio. It looks like we actually had the match audio muted in the last round,
yeah,
so my apologies for that. Thank you for the person who chimed in and let us know. I'm going to turn it up a little bit too. want to make sure we get some of that stellar music going. All right, so round 2. I believe we are good to go with round 2. So, wait. Do I have the right... Maybe I don't have the right match pulled up. Hang on. Oh. Okay, yeah. You know what? We are still finishing up set number 1, it looks like, for some of our competitors. So, I've got to figure out where we are from a scheduling perspective. We might be able to join another set mid-match if round 1 isn't done. So let me go ahead and see if we've got the ability to do that. Up next, I believe we have Flakes versus Hope. Hope/Draco. All right, so while we're figuring this out, Chad, if you've got any questions about the game or anything about what we're doing here, go ahead and chime in. We'll just go to do a chat Q&A until we get our next match set up.
We'll answer questions in between rounds.
Yeah, sure. We'll keep things interactive here. So thanks for everyone who is joining us on this little experiment of ours. We've never live streamed this before. It's kind of our first time doing it, and so we'll just kind of stumble our way through it. Figure things out.
Soundwave wants to advertise the game. Where can I download this?
Soundwave wants... Well, Soundwave, if you somehow manage to win a set without downloading the game, that's even more impressive. Yeah, for anybody who isn't aware, you can download this game for free at megamanarena.com, all one word. We have just come out with a version... Shouldn't say just come out. Version 3.0 released last year. We are actively working on the next version or iteration of the game, but we've released a few bug patches and added a few quality of life features most recently, and so we're up to 3.0.5 at the time of this recording. So that's the version that our competitors are using. And yeah, we're up to, I want to say 41 characters in the game.
It's crazy.
Every Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3 character is represented, including Doc Robot from Mega Man 3. We've got representatives from every other 8-bit game. Well, really every other game. Every other mainline game other than Mega Man 11 at this point. So we have 2 from Mega Man 9. I want to say only 1 from Mega Man 10. And then several from Mega Man 1, 4, 5, 6. And 1 each from 7 and 8. So yeah, we've got quite a bit of representation. Hopefully your favorite character is in the game. If your favorite character is not yet in the game, then it's entirely possible we'll add that character one day. We have a fairly active tournament scene from the perspective of at least the Discord channel. So our Discord server. If you're not already in the Discord server, be sure to check that out. It should be available in the video description, I think. It should be in there. Yeah, it is. So, in fact, so is the link for downloading the game. Alright, so I think our tournament, our TOs, our tournament organizers are getting the next round figured out. I think we had a little bit of a technical issue on the tournament side. The matches were being played, I believe. Matches are being played. Let's see if we've got any other matches that we can tune into. Ader. Xfile. All right. We don't actually have any matches live going at the moment. Let me just check in one more time. Well, we are still having some problems getting our tournament going. Looks like... Okay. Okay. So we are... I think we're caught up. So... we are in the middle of Flakes versus X-File. This is another round one. So I think we just had some some confusion around the start of the tournament. So we just had a few matches not actually start in. So we're not quite ready for round two yet. So we're just going to jump into another round one match that's in the middle. All right, so I'm not exactly sure what the set count is here. Let me find out. Okay, looks like X-File won the first round. And it is best I can tell, it looks like it was Magnet Man versus Proto Man. So, in this case, Flake should be selecting a counter pick stage, and from there we will see which characters get locked into. So Flakes is a well-known bass player on the server, but he has a pretty solid Proto Man as well. So it's not a big surprise that we saw Proto versus Magnet to start with. And so let's see, it looks like Flakes is changing to bass. So we are switching over. Now it looks like we don't have audio on this particular stream, unfortunately. So we will just, yeah, we'll just watch it and see how it goes. So the two very different characters from Needle and Magma. Needle and Magma actually had quite a bit of similarities in a lot of ways. But yeah, these two characters are very highly mobile characters. The difference is that Base is very combo driven, whereas Magnet Man is a little bit more crowding your space up. He wants to keep magnets out, flip them around with his magnetism, stay mobile with his high jump. And so that's kind of similar styles, you could argue, but also pretty different. So Flakes has a pretty big advantage already, being that he is up 3 stocks to 2. Looks like we're getting some lag spikes in here, but we're surviving. So Base has a burst shot and his base kick. So a lot of what he tries to go for is landing the burst of shots. Each one of those shots does 1 damage, but they can combo into one another. He also is able to use Trouble to get energy back. So Trouble will come down, find energy in the ground, or maybe he just flips energy out. I guess the sprites, you know, is what it is. He flips energy out of the ground or something there. So, ooh, Flakes has a 2 stock advantage at this point. X-File just cannot land the finisher here. And this is always a challenge as far as trying to figure out, should I burst my EP and use a chunk of my energy in order to land the final blow? And oftentimes players will try to do that and get punished for it. So sometimes it's best just to burst your EP and get the KO. So at this point, it looks like Flakes is going to clean up. X-File is out of EP and HP. Not a good place to be. And that ends the match. So we are tied now 1-1. X-File did almost get Flakes down to his last stock, but Flakes had a treasure trove of EP left over. And as we've said before, EP is practically as important as HP in this game. Any thoughts, Kiss Shark, on that match?
I noticed that with Base's angle shot, it would be harder to avoid by jumping.
All right, great observation. Thank you.
I don't play this game much.
No, hey, to your point, Base is able to aim in 7 directions. The only direction he can't aim of the orthogonal directions would be straight down. And that makes it very difficult on when Base had the upper, the higher ground in that match. And memes aside, the higher ground is actually pretty important in this game. To the point that we limit the amount of vertical stages. This is one of the most vertical stages that we have available still in competitive play. And so it'll be interesting because I would have expected him to go a little bit more of a flat stage, but clearly X-File, who picked the stage, by the way, is wanting to try to take advantage of the verticality here. And so if he can keep Base on a platform above him, again, Base can't aim straight down. It's a very different situation than Cutman's block in the corner, which kept Base. Base couldn't camp a platform with you. What am I trying to say? Magnet Man couldn't get under that platform like he can get under these platforms. So this is a much better stage against Base. And if Base can only land 1 shot damage from a distance, then he's gonna have a hard time keeping up because each one of Magnet's shots does 3 damage. So X-File got into a little bit of a scrum there. He's trying to keep his distance, I think. But Flakes has got a treasure trove of EP. He's really got to try to use that. And he was able to finish off the stock. But now as we're back, we basically got a reset match here. So we're at 2 stocks apiece, both at full EP. Again, something that not every game has to worry about is that EP bar. So you can be at 2 stocks each, but if somebody used up all of their EP to get it evened, then that's really not an even fight. But this is still very even at this point. I will say neither competitor is really trying to use their EP that much. Especially Flakes. with base. It looks like he's just content to sit back and try to get that burst of 4 damage in. Every magnet shot does 3 damage, and so X-File has been able to keep up a little bit, but you know, one of Flakes, or I'm sorry, X-Vile, who once again was able to even things up here, probably gonna have to be a little bit more aggressive with EP use until he forces Flakes' hand. What Flakes is doing is working for him. He's been able to keep the stock advantage this entire time. So at this point, X-File is a little bit short on EP. Yep, okay. So now at this point, he is out of EP. This is where Flakes might end up just being able to clean up. Although Flakes, he was able to... Magnet Man was able to avoid some of those base kicks, which gave him a chance. But Flakes was able to wrap it up. And with about, it looked like 7 HP to spare. So a very even match. Right down to the wire on that one. That was really good. Well played by X-Vile. Flakes was able to do the reverse 2-0. After losing the first round, he won rounds 2 and 3. All right, so let's go ahead and I think at this point, hopefully, we should be ready for round 2 of our round robin. There are expected to be 3 rounds of the round robin bracket. And so let's see if we got round 2 ready. Looks like we might have one more round 1 still going. Let me see if I can tune in and watch the end of that. Okay, so we do have another set here between Ader and Danny. So we're kind of getting a little bit of everybody here. Once again, we do not have audio being shared, so hopefully we can get the audio figure. This is just from the Discord stream. Unfortunately, the audio is not being shared, so there's nothing that we can fix on our stream at this point. So here again, 2 completely different characters. We have Snake Man and Spark Man. Both are very debuff focused. So Snake Man likes to land several different debuffs actually. He's got the ability to land a debuff that drains the EP, a debuff that weakens your armor, makes you take more damage, and a debuff that slows you down. Right now we can see the debuffs listed out on the left. So Ader has both of the debuffs right now. The red debuff indicating that he's taking more damage. But it didn't help Danny out because wasn't able to finish off the stock while he had all of the debuffs. Sparkman, meanwhile, relies on a stun debuff. So his little sparks will stun you, and then he's able to use his big spark to land a combo attack. He is very EP heavy. His normal shot, which is the 8-way spark, actually takes EP. Most of our characters do not burn EP for their normal shot. But he does, however, have a way to regain his EP. So he can charge up, gets a little super armor while he's charging. And what he wants to do, as much as anything, is get his opponents trapped in a corner so he can combo them. So Danny has a chance here. He's brought it back a little bit. He has enough EP. He was able to land his debuffs. Oh, and he dodged a big spark. So Ader, again, being very EP hungry with this character. Already burned through all of his EP. He's trying right now to get the charge up a little bit back. And Danny was able to pull off the reversal. That was
kind of 2 HP left.
2 HP.
That was, wow.
I do not know if that was round 2 or round 3.
We can actually we can see here probably if they've marked it. It looks like it was round 1.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the pool and see if we can tell this is the wrong pool. So let me flip over to the other pool. It looks like Danny might have been up 1-0 at that point, as best I can tell. So I'm guessing the set is done with Danny
with a close victory.
Managing to pull off a very close victory. I don't know for sure if they were tied at 1-1. If so, because our no, actually it looks like Ader actually went Flame Man in the first round and lost to Danny Snake Man. So yep, it looks like Danny won 2-0, and that will end our round 1. So at this point, looking at the two pools, we have Soundwave and Danny pulling off the victories over Jose and Ader, respectively, in Pool 1. And flipping over to Pool 2, it looks like Meat Bomb beat Hope, Tark versus Cat, which is a fun matchup, given that they're both are some original characters in the game. And then we also have Flakes defeating X-File, which we tuned into and watched 2-1. So Meat Bomb and Flakes winning out over X-File and Draco, respectively. So that's our round 1. Again, we've got 3 rounds. We're moving into round 2, and then we'll, after the round robin pool, we actually switch over to brackets. So let's see here. We are going to stream Flakes versus Hope this round. Let me switch over to that stream. Hey, we've got some audio on this stream. I like it. All right, so we are ready for the next round. Again, there should be about 4 matches happening all at the same time right now. This will just be one of those 4 matches. And we are in pool number 1. No, 2. Pool number 2. The bracket actually, if you go to start.gg, you can search for Mega Man Arena Summit. You should be able to pull up the brackets there. In fact, I could have. Let me see here. If I flip over. So this is our current brackets. I suppose I should have shared this earlier. Didn't think about that while I was explaining it. So we see that our round robin is 1/3 complete. We've got 4 matches done with. This is pool number 2. So right now we've got Flakes versus Draco. Again, Draco goes by Hope as well. And so this would be the current round. Flipping over to pool number 1. We can see that we've got several matches going. Looks like Danny and Jose are playing. No, wait. Danny and Jose and Danny and Soundwave? Something's going on there. We'll figure that out later. Alright, so let's go ahead and flip back to our match. So as we explained at the very start of this, we do begin with a double blind pick. Flakes and Hope do not know what the other person is picking. Now, a lot of these players know each other pretty well at this point, so they probably have an idea of who they're playing. But as we mentioned before, Flakes has a couple of different characters he can pull out, as does Hope. But we do see Cat versus Base, which is what both of these players are most known for. Now, Katyusha is a character that we have not yet seen in our live streaming here. Katyusha is the creation of Neomaru, who actually not only created Katyusha, a moveset for Katyusha in this game, but Katyusha actually shows up in several mods and several other Mega Man fan games. So something to watch out for. She's playable in several locations. In fact, you can even play against her as a boss. A few of her features. First of all, she wields a, well, I don't know what kind of sword that is. Is that a lance? A rapier? Some kind of, like a fencing type of blade. And so she's a melee-based character in a not melee-based game, which can get her into trouble. Her biggest advantage against some of the characters is that she can transform into a motorcycle, which gives her some invulnerability as she transforms into and out of that mode. And pretty hard to stop her because she has super armor. But it's still a difficult matchup. Base is extremely good at close range, which is where Katyusha needs to play. She tries to land those combo shots. Anytime you see orange sparks, that means that somebody is landing a combo. You will see a lot of those combo hits with these two characters in here. And so right now, Hope is trying desperately to finish off this stock while trying to conserve a little bit of her EP, and she was not able to do that. So even though she was able to get the KO without any EP, this is going to be pretty rough. She is maybe a little bit accepting her fate. This is, in Mega Man Arena, it is pretty difficult to come back from a fight if you lack EP.
Also, the fact that Base can shoot in all angles and just kind of avoid her melee attacks is not going to make it easy on her. Flakes kind of had the advantage on the distance there.
Yeah, exactly. Base can do a burst shot of 4 plus land the kick for additional damage. Katyusha's big advantage in a matchup is supposed to be her ability to get in close and deal a burst of damage. Not every character can do that. If you think about characters with range shots, they usually want to stay a little bit further away, but Base is an exception. He lands his burst, he lands his kick, he's just as threatening up close as Katyusha is. And the other nuance in all of that is Katyusha's combo relies a little bit on the opponent being grounded. Base can land his combo even if his opponent is in the air. So as soon as, but she has to be on the ground to do her rapid jab. Her hope is to come in with her aerial attack, land into her normal shot 1, normal shot 2 combo, and then do the rapid jab for another 4. So she can burst a lot of damage all at once.
By the end there, you saw her actually go for that and actually missed facing the wrong direction, allowing Flakes to jump over her and shoot her from behind with his angled shot.
Yeah.
That's what got her at the end.
Yeah, Base has incredible mobility. He's got the ability to use a double jump. He's got his dash. If he jumps out of his dash, he keeps his dash speed in the air. He just has a lot of tools that Katyusha doesn't in this matchup. But I'm excited to see if we... Oh, never mind. Okay, I was going to say I'm excited to see what Hope is able to do in the next round, because Hope is very adaptable. She does a really good job adapting with Katyusha in her matches. But perhaps she has recognized that Katyusha isn't the best character to be trying against Base, so she has busted out yet another original character. So we have 5 original characters in the game. Some of them get quite a bit of usage in tournament play. So here we have Metman, creation of really a collaboration among several contributors, but Jax as being a mod in the Mega Man Arena server. A lot of this is his design. And so ultimately what we have a character who is based on the idea of 2 Mets kind of wanting to enter the tournament, and so it's your classic cartoon look of I'm going to wear an overcoat or trench coat, and nobody's going to know that this is 2 different characters. 2 different people in an overcoat. So it's 2 Mets walking around, which is why they wobble. Metman is focused a little bit more on summons. So he's got the ability to summon Met Train and Helimet, as we see both here. But Flakes just jumps right over the Met Train, uses his mobility to get to Metman. So Metman tries to hide behind Met Train. Met Train's a very bulky summon, can deflect shots before it opens up, has a lot of hit points. Very difficult for some characters to get past. Flakes is demonstrating that Base has no issue with these summons whatsoever. So, in fact, Flakes is busting out Trouble and telling Trouble, hey, you know what? I've got a summon too. Check it out. He's gonna vault in and do damage. So if you don't make Trouble combine with you, and you don't make Trouble deal or give you energy, then Trouble will lash out, as we see, do a little bit of extra damage.
Wow. Base's mobility is crazy. Metman seems to have not nearly as much compared to him.
Metman is not mobile. Metman is designed to stay behind his summons and pepper you with shots.
Yet Base is able to get over those pretty easily, it seems.
Yeah. Flakes used Base's mobility to absolute perfection in that match. 3 stock was a very clean way to close out that set. And so, congratulations to Flakes. It looks like he is the first one to obtain 2 wins in the round robin pool. All right. So, that was a pretty quick 2-0 rather for Flakes. So, We're still in the middle of round 2. Let's see what other matches are happening right now. We've got... let's check in on Jose and Ader. All right, so and we'll get another Katyusha. Excellent. So Jose also has, in addition to playing Needleman, will play a very good Katyusha. Looks like he's trying to get in on Ader right now. Ader had to back off and get some of that EP back because, again, he can't even shoot if he doesn't have EP. So he's trying to stay mobile and stay alive here just so he can get another shot out against Jose's Katyusha, and he's just not able to finish Katyusha off. Now, most characters will not try to use their EP to finish, or have to at least decide whether they should use their EP to finish off a stock, but because Sparkman can actually charge up, he's usually not shy about using his EP to finish off stocks. But Jose is keeping Sparkman at a distance beautifully with Katyusha, zoning him out with those aerial tornadoes. When Katyusha slashes her sword in the air, she fires out a tornado that's actually pretty similar to Windstorm from Mega Man 6, if you think about that particular projectile.
Jose was doing a really good job keeping Sparkman from being able to recharge his EP, while also staying mobile and keeping away from the attacks that he was able to get off.
Sparkman is pretty much in it, taking your standard Mega Man Arena character to the extreme. Mega Man Arena characters can usually do light damage without EP spend, and then they burst with EP in order to deal more damage. Sparkman takes that to the extreme in that he can't even shoot, as we mentioned, without EP, but the amount of damage that he can burst, I mean, he can almost burst an entire stock if he does it perfectly. And so Jose has to find that balance of, Katyusha does well up close, and so to some extent you need to get up close when you can, but you've got to really keep Sparkman away from you as well. So he did that really well. Let's go ahead and flip over to, it looks like we've got X-Vile versus Meat Bomb. I'm not exactly sure where they are in this set, but these are two new characters, Woodman and Iceman. I love the variety we're getting. And let's see if Danny and Soundwave are playing. They are. Maybe about to play around. Okay, yep, they are. So here we go. I do not know where we are in the set. Let me see if I can figure that out from Start GG real quick. This is Soundwave and Danny, so that would be pool number 1. Soundwave and Danny. Alright, as best I can tell, they either haven't reported the first game.
Looks like they haven't even recorded it.
You know what? I think they just didn't record it, because as best I recall from the countdown, I think both of their characters were revealed.
They were.
Okay, yeah. So since they didn't use the double blind picks, I do believe this would be at least round 2, if not round 3. So we'll have to see where we are. The Soundwave going Quick Man against Danny's Snake Man. We do have a little bit of match lag, unfortunately, in this set. Or in this specific round, but if anything, that's going to give a little bit of advantage to Soundwave, who's got Quick Man level mobility and can react a little faster because the match is slow due to lag. Mega Man Arena is an international community. We've actually got players all over the world, even represented within this tournament. We've got players from nearly every time zone, it feels like at times. So every now and again we'll get a laggy match, but it's just the nature of things. So this matchup, again, features yet another new character. We haven't seen Quick Man yet. Quick Man is he was one of our more straightforward characters in the original release. He's gotten actually some updates that have made him a little bit less straightforward, but his primary strategy remains the same. He is fast, He does a lot of damage, and he takes a lot of damage. So if he can dodge shots, then he's usually in pretty good shape. As soon as he starts running into a crowded space, he struggles. And I will say one thing that Snake Man struggles to do is crowd the space with projectiles. All of his projectiles cling to the ground. And so, other than his flying glider snakes that he releases in the air like that one. But he can have a really hard time landing hits on mobile characters. That's one of his weaknesses. It would not surprise me if Danny won the first round and this is a counter pick on Soundwave's part. All right, let me try to turn up. I think our audio is down a little bit.
There's no audio on the last one.
Yeah, sometimes they're not streaming audio. This time there should be game audio. So let me know. Please let me know in the chat if you are not able to hear the game audio. Alright, so Danny has been able to keep the stock count about the same. He's losing the EP battle big time, but I will say Quickman, because of what we talked about, he doesn't use much EP. His EP is spent throwing out the homing quick boomerangs. The homing quick boomerangs only do 1 damage. And so he doesn't have your classic ability to burst a lot of damage. Meanwhile, Snake Man is doing 3 damage with pretty much all of his snakes. If Danny ever lands a red snake on Quickman, he will take a boatload of damage. It drastically improves or increases the amount of damage you take, and Quickman already has a little bit of armor reduction. So Danny has actually brought this match back significantly. We have an exact reset on the last stock.
Very even.
Yeah, very even match. So Danny just landed a debuff that drains Quickman's EP, but again, Quickman doesn't really rely on EP. Quickman will happily take that over a damage reduction, the red snake.
These characters both rely heavily on projectiles, just very different forms of projectiles, so it's really interesting to see how both of them dodge the other's attempts at just flooding the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, neither one of these characters have a straight shot. Quickman's shots are all very close range. It's the quick boomerang trajectory from Mega Man 2 for those who have used quick boomerang in Mega Man 2. And so here we do have Danny is out of EP once again. Soundwave does have EP, but it doesn't really help Quickman nearly as much.
Snake just relies too much on his other projectile forms to flood.
Danny is dodging boomerangs like a boss. Sound is doing a good job of flooding the screen, but oh my goodness.
It's a close round. It's just whoever messes up first.
So at this point, Danny has 4 hit points. He needs to get hit by, okay, 1 quick boomerang. There it is. I was going to say, Quickman can only do 3 and 1 damage, so he had to hit with 2.
Such a close round. Very even matched.
That was a fantastic end of the match. I hope we get a little bit less lag on the next round. I'm sure that helped both Danny and Soundwave dodging shots. The game was running probably about 30 FPS to 40 FPS. But either way, that was a great round. Oh, we were on double blind, so this might have been the first round actually.
So there might be a second. Let's see. Maybe they did.
Yes, we'll wait and see if we get a report. Sounds like it looks like sound is coming through better now, so that's good.
HTM says that Danny really showed off Snake's capabilities very well.
Yeah, Danny is really good with Snake Man. He's well known for his snake. He used to be known for his Cut Man, actually, and he's spent a lot of time on Snake Man.
It shows.
So it'll be interesting to see if Danny switches his... Well, okay, so the advantage to losing. You never want to lose. The advantage is he will now get to react to Soundwave's character choice. So if Soundwave sticks with Quick Man, I will be very curious to see if Danny sticks with Snake Man, because he did almost pull off the come from behind, but he is at a distinct disadvantage in this matchup, in my opinion. That said, I might well be proven wrong. So, let's see here. This should be the last set in round 1, I expect, or round 2 rather, and then we'll be moving on to round 3 of pools, and then we jump into the bracket. We do expect this tournament to go in probably another couple hours or so, so we'll be streaming a lot of Mega Man Arena matches.
Here, I have a question.
You have a question? Oh, from the chat?
From Deltaman, I think he's asking a question. How does the online stage selection work? Like, how do you pick? Is it random? When doing tournament versus, are they just randomly selecting a stage, or are there specifics?
Yeah, great question. Okay, so the way the tournament selection and stage selection works is when you have a best of 3 or a best of 5, the very first round is going to be your balanced randomized match. We do double blind picks, meaning you don't see who the opponent is picking, and the game has an internally programmed set of stages that we use. So those stages have been designed for competitive play, and through many tournaments at this point, we've kind of isolated down what are the best, most competitive, and most fair stages. So they typically are symmetrical, not every time. They are usually, you're not going to find moving stages, you're not going to find ladders, you're not going to find a lot of verticality, meaning you're not going to find that your high jump characters can camp on platforms that are really high up, because not every character has that level of mobility. So the first stage is randomly chosen stage. After that, whoever lost the previous round gets to pick the stage. And with the only exception being that whoever won the previous round gets a stage ban. So they get to say, okay, of all the stages, you can't pick this one, but then the other person gets to pick from all the rest. So I am now in this case, again, Soundwave won the first round, so he preemptively switched to Sheepman, which is interesting because I feel like he played amazingly well against Danny Snake Man in the first round. So maybe it was the stage, because he did get to pick his character based on this stage. On some level, he decided that he wanted to try Sheepman out. It's not going great for him, but, let's see how it goes. So Sheepman is an interesting character in that, he's got some of his classic moves that you'd expect. He can go into the clouds and fire lightning down. He can fire out his thunder, or, why am I blanking on his sheepy move? I'm blanking on it, but somebody in the chat can tell me what it's called. and he tries to charge himself up and boost his normal shot. Now, by the time I finished explaining the stages and getting that far, Danny had already secured the win. So congratulations to Danny on a very clear victory.
Yeah.
And so now the set is tied at 1-1. And at this point, per our earlier conversation, Soundwave will get to choose the stage. Danny will get to choose his character. He gets to stay as Quickman, or he gets to choose. And then Soundwave will react to all of that and finally pick his character. So again, the big advantage to winning round 1 is that he gets to directly counterpick Danny's character. Looks like he is picking Skull Stage 2. That would be the sunset part of Skullman stage with those bone-like platforms. Gives him a little bit of verticality, but ultimately what he's looking for probably is to get away from the floor. And Danny loves, all of Snake Man's projectiles hug the floor. So Danny would prefer as flat of a stage as possible without any platforms, and which is why he picked the last stage. It was because it had a very small platform section. It is also my guess that Soundwave banned flat stages, which is probably why Danny wasn't able to go to a perfectly flat stage. So it looks like Danny is staying as... Oh, I'm sorry, Danny. Oh, that's right. We're watching this from Danny's perspective. I thought Soundwave was changing his character. So Danny switched to Magnet Man. Soundwave is going to... Well, we're going to find out if Soundwave's going to keep his character or not. So yes, Danny has decided that Snake Man is not a good option for this particular stage. So we are waiting on Soundwave's choice of character. Soundwave has switched to Shadow Man. He is locking in with Shadow Man. Well, what's fascinating about this is both players have now changed their characters. We went from Quick Man versus Snake Man to Shadow Man versus Magnet Man. So this will be completely different, like you say. Shadow Man. Yes, we have not seen Shadow Man on stream yet. Shadow Man is also highly mobile, has a lot of invulnerability, his ability to fast fall. If he triggers a fast fall, it does take a little bit of EP, but he's invulnerable while he fast falls, and he can get close with a fast slide. Now I will say that Shadow Man prefers flat stages, so I'm not sure that I agree with the choice to go to a vertical stage like this and react to a very mobile character in Magnet Man with a character who is very good on flat stages. But we'll see how it works out for him. So far, he's managed to keep it even. But I will say that if he can own the top, if he can stay on top of those platforms, then he's able to probably outmaneuver Magnet Man. He has to stay above or below Magnet Man. Danny has got to make sure that he stays at a good horizontal distance. And that's exactly what Danny's doing. He's playing this very well. Because Magnet Man, he's not great at attacking right above him and right below him. Very even so far. Danny has kept a little bit of a lead over Soundwave. He's got an EP and an HP lead. So far, Soundwave is largely using his EP for... Yeah, okay. Well, actually, Soundwave did really good, honestly, in closing the gap there. Danny is left with a bunch of EP, but oh! Danny died with a bunch of EP. You never want to lose your stock with EP on the table. That was... In a lot of ways in Mega Man Arena, EP is guaranteed damage, or at least high likelihood of damage. When you leave EP and you lose a stock with EP, that's damage you could have, should have done. Soundwave completely reversed that in the last stock, was able to get on top of him and on top of Danny in such a way that Danny wasn't able to get off of him. So congratulations to Soundwave, you took the set. Proved my analysis wrong. Shadow Man, so Shadow Man is really good at sliding in and using his close range assassinate. I don't think that he ever got an assassinate in that set. I might have missed it, or in that round. I might have missed it, but I don't believe he landed an assassination. And yet he was able to win primarily because of his ability to stay above and below Danny. Danny. So that was I tell you what, Soundwave is playing out of his mind right now. He has taken out 2 top competitors in the pool, and he is at least positioned to be able to win the pool outright. If he wins his last round against Ader, then he will win. Ader, at this point, has actually lost 2 rounds. And so even if he loses to Ader, it is possible he will still win this pool, depending on how all of the other matches shake out. So that is going really well for Soundwave. All right, so we have, let me see. I believe we should be ready for round 3. So I'm checking in right now. We should be streaming next. Let me pull up the stream schedule. Flakes versus Meat Bomb, I believe. So let me flip over to Meat Bomb's stream. And we do. We have Meat Bomb and Flakes ready to roll. All right. Well, after a little bit of a shaky start, I think the tournament is sailing along just very smoothly right now. So, Meat Bomb and Flakes. This might be a Tark versus Base battle, and it will be Tark versus Base. So we are going to Proto Stage 2, Ye Old Lincoln Memorial. So, Tark we haven't actually seen in our stream. We continue to have characters that we have not seen in this tournament. The character diversity has been really fun to watch. So, Meat Bomb has a stellar Tark. Tark is a very highly mobile character. He's got the ability to hold 2 charge shots at once. He charges up, he releases his first charge shot, and then he can release a second one with the press of a button. So he likes to spread them out, stagger them as you've seen, to try to land one of them. The downside to the double charge shot is they do not do as much damage as other charge shots. They only do 4 damage, versus a lot of charge shots will do 6. Flakes is keeping himself in this despite getting down early, dodging tons of charge shots, trying to take advantage of getting on top of Meat Bomb. But another advantage that Tark has in this matchup is the ability to drop these cross attacks. These cross attacks come out very quickly and in very close proximity, so they're almost impossible to avoid for Base, who likes to be right on top of his opponent. At this point, Base Flakes, he is trying desperately to get back in this game. He's doing a great job of it, camping the middle platform, shooting his shots down, and even though he loses his penultimate stock, he has been able to actually get back into this matchup. The Tark does have that dash attack, which allows him to deflect shots as he comes inbound, and Flakes was able to hold within a pretty reasonable distance here. He's been able to stay in this fight, but Meat Bomb is not interested in having anything of it, and he completely cleans up the stock there at the end. So not a bad job by Flakes to stay mobile and dodge a lot of those charge shots, but in the end, Meat's mobility won out, and Meat was able to dodge all of the burst shots and avoid some fatal combos.
I noticed that Flakes was really good at his air movement as usual with Base, but at the same time, Meat Bomb was doing great ground mobility, which I noticed Flakes having some trouble with, because as he was sliding around on the ground, it was harder for him to hit because he has more air mobility, but that might not help with trying to hit someone who has good ground mobility.
Yes. Yeah, that is an excellent observation. Base relies on connecting with his 4-shot combo. He really can't do much outside of that. when he's in his untransformed state. Now, we did see a few times in there that Flakes is really good at transforming. So when he summons Trouble, if he touches Trouble or touches as Trouble teleports in, he transforms, and it allows him to hover in the air. And if he does it right, it doesn't consume a lot of EP, and so he can use a little bit of EP to stay in the air and dodge maybe a burst of shots from Meat Bomb. The downside to that is that Meat Bomb's double charge shot doesn't actually consume any EP, as charge shots do not consume EP in this game. So Flakes has chosen Charge Man's Stage 2 here to try to limit Meat Bomb's mobility. These staggered blocks in the middle not only give Flakes a little bit of verticality to jump over, uses double jump well, but as we can see here, he can also shoot down and limit what Meat is able to do from a mobility perspective. But I tell you what, Meat has done a good job of keeping his damage out there. He's just trying to finish off the stock, and he does. And he's got a little bit of EP left to use. He just uses it right there to secure a charge shot, which is excellent. In this game, it's usually inevitable you're going to lose your stock at some point, unlike other games where you can maybe do things to survive. And so your goal is usually just to do as much damage as possible. And Flakes was absolutely annihilated in that moment. So Meat Bomb now has a full stock advantage. Flakes went a little bit all in on the melee there. He just went took the fight right to Meat Bomb and was able to do a lot. If he can, okay, yeah, he was able to secure this kill. He gets some EP back from Trouble. If he can get a significant amount of damage here, it's not over for him. And he was able to do a little bit of damage, but I don't know if it'll be enough. Let's find out here.
Flakes is doing a good job avoiding Meat Bomb's attacks while also getting all 4 of his combos in regularly. Combo shot.
Yes. If he can... Oh, his shooting upward there didn't get it. So he is trying to get some EP back from Trouble. He didn't get quite as much as he wanted. The amount of EP he gets is regulated, and so sometimes he gets small shots, sometimes he gets small energies, sometimes he gets large energies. Did not get enough EP to fight back. So Meat Bomb, you know, outside of stock number 2, Flakes played that really well, but Meat Bomb, I tell you what, that one stock just completely cleaned up Flakes and did a really great job of locking him down and not taking any damage in the process. So that is, let's take a look here. Gotta flip over to pool number 2. So Meat Bomb takes that. So this is interesting. We're not actually going to see somebody win all 3 of their matches in pool number 2. Flakes losing that round. Flakes was the only one position to be able to outright win the pool, but he misses his opportunity by dropping the set to Meat Bomb. So Flakes has 2 wins, Meat Bomb has 2 wins, and it's possible, depending on the last set, that X-Vile might end up with 2 wins as well, and then it's going to come down to tiebreakers. So let's go ahead and see if we can flip over to X-Vile versus Hope and see what happens here, see if we can figure out how Pool 2 is going to end. And this, we came right into an amazing match, it looks like. Last stock, X-Vile has less EP, but a lot of, less HP, but a lot of EP. Not able to use it. Hope cleans that up. I do not know what round that was, though. Let's see if they've been reporting. Looks like they haven't been reporting yet. They were not double blind, though. So based on that stage choice, I would expect that that's at least round 2, if not round 3. All right, so let's take a look around. So that's pool 2. So let's see here. Hope won that one. So if that set is over, then X-Vile missed his chance to compete in the tiebreaker. But if the set's not over, then X-Vile might still be able to pull off a 2-1 standing. I'm going to take a look at pool number 2 here. Looks like we have Soundwave and Jose. That set might be over. Let me see. We'll flip over to Jose. Oh, it's happening right... No, this... Oh, they're just playing a friendly match. Jose... Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Jose... No, this isn't a friendly match. Okay, I gotcha. The Soundwave is playing against Danny. Let me see. I'll tell you what, we flipped over here. Let's finish watching this match. So, Jose, once again... not once again. Well, yeah, once again rocking Katyusha. Danny keeping this match pretty reasonable. I'm not sure who won the first one, unfortunately. Actually, wait. According to our bracket, it looks like Danny won the first one. So this would be Jose's counterpick, which makes sense. This is a pretty good counterpick for anybody who's able to lock in on some of those diagonal shots, which Katyusha loves to do. Loves to get people in those corners. Loves to send Gallop down there for summon. But I tell you what, Danny just... Oh! Danny just landed quite a few of those debuffs, and I thought maybe he was going to make a comeback, but Jose said, nope, I'm going to catch you with the Katyusha combo. And Jose stays in this 1-1. But looking back at Pool 2, X-File and Draco haven't been recorded. Okay, I think they're just now logging in and getting their matches recorded. So we're still kind of waiting on the results of that set. Oh, nice. All right, so we are going to watch out the rest of this set. Looks like Jose and Danny are tied 1-1. So I'm following the process. It looks like Jose banned the Skull stage. And we very quickly went to Proto 2. So Proto 2 is modeled after the... I was going to paint it out as some epic scene, but definitely a meme-worthy scene of Mega Man and Proto Man in the Ruby Spears cartoon duking it out in front of the Lincoln Memorial, where Mega Man took Proto Man's shot, being the patriotic doofus that he is. So here we have yet another epic scene. This time of Katyusha and Snake Man. So, now this is Danny's pick. Danny went with as flat of a stage as possible, this being that there is a platform. There's still not much in the way of dodging shots. Yeah, the shot could go underneath that platform, but every time he throws a snake out, it leaps upward. And so even sitting on top of that platform, you just can't get around it. I'm a little surprised at Jose's ban, because I just don't know that Danny would ever have gone to that Skull stage, but with his mobility, it's actually possible he could have just completely outmaneuvered Katyusha. So for Katyusha at this point, he's down a stock, Jose is. Let's see if he can pull it back. He's going to have to really get in on Snake Man, but Snake Man has really fast slide, and it's pretty tough to lock Snake Man down. We see him crawling instead of sliding. That crawl is about 50% faster than most slides. And the timer's a little bit longer. He can actually, well, he can hold it down. He can actually crawl as long as he wants. He's just not able to turn it around, so he can keep crawling until he hits a wall if he wants to. So, unfortunately for Jose, it looks like Snake Man's mobility is just too much, especially given the stage. He's just not... Oh, okay, good for him. He cleaned up that stock. He says, I am not going to be 3-stocked. Going to use Katyusha's shield to make sure that I don't get JV 3'd. And he was able to do a little bit of damage at the end. So a good, valiant effort by Jose, but Danny was able to pull off a convincing win, two-stocking him in round 3. So, it looks like, as we review the pools, actually, let's see if there's anybody else still playing at this point. Looks like pool number 1 is done. Let's flip over to pool number 2. Looks like pool number 2 is done. So, I'm going to pull up the stream, or I'm sorry, pull up the brackets on the stream and review here. So, let's take a look at pool number 1 here. Let's just do it sequentially. Pool number 1, Soundwave did pull off the win. Now, he knocked Ader off, and actually it looks like he went base against Ader. I've not actually seen Soundwave's base, so that's very interesting to me. So, Soundwave, big congratulations on winning the first seed. Danny is able to get the second seed thanks to him beating out Jose there. And Jose takes 3 seed. Ader, not able to secure a victory, takes 4th seed. Now, again, none of these players are eliminated. They are all going into a bracket, which we'll look at in a moment. So, moving to pool 2. Meat Bomb took first place. Again, in this pool, nobody outright won everything. Meat Bomb, in fact, lost a set to X-File. I don't know if it's his first one or not. But because of his dominant performance elsewhere, he was able to take first place. Flakes was able to take second place. And then X-File, and then Hope. So every player in this pool was able to get at least 1 win. But it came down to really 2 different tiebreakers. So Flakes and Meat Bomb had to figure out between Flakes and Meat Bomb. But it really comes down to Meat Bomb beating Flakes. Was the tiebreaker there. And then X-File and Draco, where Draco beat X-File, which is... Wait, am I reading that right? It sure looks like actually Draco should be above X-File based on that tiebreaker. But they might have actually configured it to be purely based on percentage. If that's the case, then X-File had a higher percentage than Draco. So usually it's the head-to-head, but I did not set up the bracket, so I shouldn't comment on that. Let's go ahead and flip over to the brackets and see if the brackets have been populated yet. And they have. So what we're going to do is we're going to stream both of these rounds while loser's bracket goes. So loser's bracket's going to go as we streamed each individual set here. So we're going to take a look at Soundwave versus Flakes first. Let me see if I can pull that up. Neither one is streaming yet. So we'll have to make sure that... Oh, we might be waiting on that. Okay, so it looks like we are actually still trying to resolve the tiebreakers. So I jumped the gun on that. When we look at the pools, the final results might actually end up switching around a little bit. So we're going to wait and see what happens there. Specifically, we might see Draco be in 3rd place and X-File be in 4th place. But I think that's the only one that could change. I believe Pool 1 was fairly straightforward. Soundwave won all of his matches. Yeah, you have all of Soundwave's matches. Danny 1-2, Jose 1-1, Ader 1-0. So yeah, this pool 1 is locked in. I think the only debate is, not the debate, but the only question is whether whether that's going to change. So, all right, we are going to take a 5-minute break on the stream. So while we get the brackets set up, thank you everyone for hanging out with us. Don't go anywhere. We are going to be right back. Stay tuned.
He left because of a family issue, I think. Should I start the things then?
All right, everyone. Well, we had a little bit of a miscommunication on our end, and the match has already started. Actually started before the stream got going. So we are jumping right into our tournament bracket. This is the winners round. Soundwave versus Flakes are playing right now. And I am actually being joined right now by Kish Prime on the commentating stream. Welcome, Kish
Howdy,
Prime.
everybody.
So, and yes, indeed, Kish Prime is my brother. We have both invested many amounts of hours into the development of this game at this point. And so, whoops, I see what's going on here. There we go. And so we are two of the primary developers of Mega Man Arena. We have a third developer and many contributors beyond that. But at the current moment in time, I'm very happy to be joined by him. So, we are already not deep into the bracket, but we are already done with round one. This is still a best of 3, and we will have Soundwave and Flakes. The winner gets to move on. The rest of the bracket is, well, half of it's in the losers round already. So again, the 3rd and 4th seeds from the pools got moved into the losers bracket, and so Jose, Draco, or Hope, Xvile, and Ader, they are in, they're fighting for their lives at this point. If they lose, they are out. But Soundwave and Flakes, whoever loses this set, will continue on in the losers bracket later on.
So I noted that there were a lot of upsets in the pool stage. It's been an exciting day for our competitive scene.
Yeah, very exciting. Soundwave taking a first seed in the winter semifinals is, again, Sound is playing out of his mind right now.
Did he end up with a 1 seed after all the tiebreakers for settlement?
Yeah. Well, there was no tiebreaker in his pool. It was very clean. It was Soundwave won 3, and trying to remember who else was in his pool. Was it
Jose and Meat?
It was Meat or Danny. I think it was Danny. It was Danny.
Oh.
So Soundwave had 3 wins. Danny had 2 wins. Jose had 1 win. Ader had no wins. Now, as I'm glancing through here, it looks like we have Jose is up against Hope 1-0, and Ader's up against Xvile 1-0. We do have some bad news for the tournament. Unfortunately, our competitor Danny was unable to continue. He had an emergency come up, so he is going to have to disqualify himself. So that actually advances Meat Bomb already into the winners finals, which means that Meat Bomb is waiting for the winner of this round between Flakes and Soundwave. So Flakes
and this is now going into round 3, I believe?
Round 2.
Is it best of 3 or best of 5?
Best of 3. So Flakes won the first match. Got a little bit of stream lag. I don't think that's affecting the gameplay. And what do you think about this? We've got Soundwave picking Gemini
coming out. So I have long been about the only Gemini player on the server, and Sound. I've heard. I've been talking with him about the fact that he does play Gemini, but I have not yet seen it in action. So this will be fun to see. I do think Gemini is actually a decent matchup against Base because of the destroy nature of the projectiles. So when he gets his 4-hit combos in, he can never hit both of them at once. So that does slow him down a little bit if you can keep the kicks away.
All right, looks like we're having some echoing problems with the stream. I apologize for that. Let me see what we can do about that.
Oh, that was a really nice last hit, and then Flakes got lazy. Took a hit between stocks that he didn't need to take. But really nice final shot from Sound to get some extra damage there. And
all right. Chat, thank you for letting us know about that. Let me know, please, if the echoing issue is resolved. Hopefully the changes I just made will do that. So I had to take my attention off of the match, but it looks like Soundwave...
He is cleaning up very nicely at the moment, and so he's just trying to get a little more damage out with a little last bit from the main body, and now we're back to having a clone again. So try and set up those pieces and keep those, like I said, keep those kicks away.
The amount of character variety we've had in this tournament has been pretty stellar. I feel like almost every match I'm having to explain the moveset of a new character that we haven't seen yet.
That was a fun laser. It's rare that you catch somebody in the upper middle of the screen. Yeah, so at this point it looks like, oh boy, I tell you what, Flakes has been able
that was a huge stock for Flakes. With the amount of EP that he has a good chance of bringing this back, except he just ran into all those lasers.
It's hard to take on a fresh Gemini in that way. So
as we've
that
explained,
would have been a challenging comeback, especially given how well he had been doing at the start of his stocks when he does come back and gets the invincibility and sets up a couple of lasers early. It's challenging to get through that stretch. If he had gotten through that early stretch, maybe he would have had a chance there to bring that back, but he did not.
No, EP is absolutely king in this game, and so it's one thing to even up the stocks, but you have to have the EP to back it up. It really felt like he did. He had about probably 80% of his EP and almost that much of his health. But
Base doesn't have tremendous defensive options for his EP though. So if he can't get those his best use of EP is just bang it out into combos, and he didn't even have a chance because he was already getting hit by the time he was still invincible. Sound was still invincible coming back. So without that, he can't use the EP to really leverage any kind of defensive play. If you just have to go pure evasion.
So in typical Base fashion, the best offense or the best defense. Offense is the best defense. Is that how it goes?
Almost entirely.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
So there was that was a counter pick. So that stage was also very good for Gemini in this matchup, and it's possible that when Flakes picks his stage, we're going to have to get a lot of the Gemini out of there. But we'll see how this goes.
Well, the Gemini lasers do not reflect off of stage edges that don't have walls. So assuming that Flakes is putting on his thinking cap here, he's likely to pick a stage that does not have walls just to rule out, I imagine, Soundwave continuing on with Gemini Man.
As I was saying, I really think Gemini is pretty strong against Base. I don't think that's too controversial. Some people think Base wins almost every matchup, but I think there are definitely some that he still struggles in, and Gemini is definitely one of those matchups.
Well, Base needs to get on your character and pretty much engage with his combo mechanisms. And so when there's two people to lock in on, you can probably pretty quickly clean up one of the clones if you focus in on it. But, I mean, the idea of if your attention gets split a little too much with Base, it's going to be really tough with that. So Flakes did lock in on Doc Robot Stage 3, which is a stage without walls. It's actually just a completely flat stage.
The last stage was flat, wasn't it? Can he go back to a flat?
He can because he. Oh, wait a second. Did Flakes did not win on the last round, so yes, he can.
Oh, he can go back to. Okay, I didn't know if flats were banned after one was played.
Yeah, flats in Mega Man Arena, all of the competitive play, flats are all rated the same. So if you ban one flat, you ban all flats. If you win on a flat, you can never go back to another flat, even if the stages are different. But if you haven't won on a flat stage and Sound didn't ban the flat stage, then he can go here. But even if he did ban a flat stage, Flakes has other options that don't have walls, such as Proto Stage 2 and Skull. The Skull, I think is that Skull Stage 3 that we use? I believe so. Yeah, it is. I called it Skull Stage 2 earlier on in the tournament, but I believe that's Stage 3 in our set.
So yes, because he did not win on the flat stage, he can go to a flat stage unless it was banned, and there was no reason for him to ban a flat stage. The problem for him was the walls situation.
Correct. So do you, in your opinion, would you expect that Soundwave should stick with Gemini Man, even losing the walls for laser reflections?
No, probably not. One of the ways, I mean, if it was an open ceiling, there's a lot more potential still. With it being open walls as well, that probably isn't going to fly. But I mean, you never know. You can still set up good things with Gemini especially on flat stages. You can still set up some pieces, but I do think it's going to be a lot more challenging. In terms of the matchup, it's definitely going to be a lot harder. He still has his damage soaking ability to really take some of Base's combos out of it, but you're going to have to maximize every laser you fire just to control.
Well, it doesn't really matter because he did not stick with Gemini Man. He went with Hot Man. This is a fascinating matchup. Hot Man, created by Kiss Shark, who's still in the room. is a very slow character who loves to be on top of you, like Base does, and has very powerful body hitboxes. You'll see several of them out there. Wow, and they ended up taking
actually
this
go even on the first stock. This is really fascinating because we don't see much Hot Man in play, and he was really doing a good job of forcing Base to run away, but he was using a lot of his own AP in the process, so it ended up being a really even stock all the way down.
Yeah. I think he's using his hot shield a little preemptively. If he could rein that in a little bit, then I think he's going to be in better shape. But I do wonder if Base Flakes does end up just winning out in the mobility once he kind of settles into this.
You got to find a way to dodge. You can take 1 or even 2 damage from those, but you can't do a whole stretch of them that way. You can't just eat those from across the stage like that. Yeah, I'm surprised how much EP Base still has left after all that flying, but he's just flying through the air.
Yeah, most of Base's EP consumption comes from shooting and using his laser when he's in that position, and he didn't use anything. He didn't even shoot at him. So
leveraging a little bit of slide invul.
Yeah,
very much controlling the match there. So he does get in and finish out the stock, but he had to take a lot of damage to it.
Shouldn't have used that mine to... So Hot Man can propel himself forward by stepping on his own mines, but he used it to get away from Base when Hot Man very clearly wants to be on top of Base. So
yeah, I've just been a slight mistake in positioning, not sure. But yeah, he wants to be on top, but it's not that easy either because, Base's strongest position's on top as well. So
yeah,
we only saw the heavy fire shield come out once that whole round, and that made it feel like that feels like that wasn't the intention, right? If you're vaulting forward, you want to try and use the heavy shield on top of people.
And I might be mistaken, but I believe, because we had a slightly low frame rate, I couldn't tell for sure, but I believe a couple of times as Hot Man was coming in with his shield on him, or it's technically his hot aura, as it's called, the red shield, as he's coming in, I believe Base used his kick to kick Hot Man away and didn't take damage himself because of the disjoint.
Yeah, that was true as well. Still an entirely respectable performance with a character that many people consider the worst in the game against a character many people consider the best in the game.
Absolutely.
So, that was fun to watch. Nice play by all.
That's a good point. A lot of people consider Base among the top and Hot among the bottom. So the fact that, that was not a cakewalk for Flakes. He escaped that match with, about half a stock, I think?
Yeah, about a half stock difference, and it was a very slow grind as well. So,
yeah. All right, well, next up we have Meat Bomb versus Flakes. Let me go ahead and pull up the bracket here as Flakes is making his opinions on balance known. Not sure that you'll find anybody who agrees with you, Flakes, on the idea of buffing Base, but here we are. So once again, unfortunately, Danny had to disqualify himself as he had an emergency he had to attend to. So we see that we've already removed him, or his disqualification has kind of had the domino effect through the brackets. So we are going to stream next Flakes versus Meat Bomb, the 2 and 3 seeds for the tournament. Again, Soundwave. When you consider Soundwave had technically a 5 seed attached to his name, coming out with a 1 seed out of a bracket. Again, an excellent run by Soundwave, and his tournamenting is not done yet. He is going to be playing X-File in the losers bracket. We won't get to watch that round. That will be happening while we watch Flakes versus Meat Bomb. Now this winner's final, I need to check in with Meat Bomb, to make sure, because this should be a best of 5, I believe.
I am going to take your word on that. Which stream are we going to now? Are we sticking with Flakes?
Flakes and Meat Bomb.
But I don't know who's going to stream winners finals. And so Flakes and Meat are generally considered the 1-2, along with Sheep's. Sheep might be the number 1, I think, in the last PR, correct? Or have we not done a PR recently?
In fact, yes. Sheep was the number 1. In fact, that's why Danny is the 1 seed in this whole bracket, because because Sheep was supposed to be in this bracket, but unfortunately Sheep ducked out last minute, and for the sake of not completely changing all of the matches and the setups, we simply slotted Danny in, and Danny, of course, being a very skilled competitor, wasn't that outlandish to throw him in as the 1 seed.
Yeah. So I mean, we've got they take up a lot of the top 3 at most tournaments between Sheep, Flakes, and Meat. They are the most common combination of top 3s right now that we see in our events.
Yeah.
Not at all surprising to see them in winners finals.
No. I mean, all 8 of these competitors are among the best, and so it's pretty fun to watch all of these sets. We haven't seen a whole lot of lopsided matches this entire time. So it's time to take a moment to talk about our sponsor. Our sponsor is Mega Man Arena. You can download Mega Man Arena at megamanarena.com and enjoy for yourself some 8-bit platform fighting. Mega Man Arena is hailed among 40-year-olds and above as being the best, most authentic 8-bit platforming fighter, bringing back memories from decades past. Be sure to grab your own copy of Mega Man Arena at megamanarena.com, and as always, please join us in the Discord, because we are always running matches and we are always running tournaments like this one, and you could find yourself rocking out with Airman or Metal Man or Flash Man and taking home the gold in the very next Mega Man Arena tournament.
Gotta be honest, it still hurts a little bit when you say decades.
Decades and decades and decades and decades.
Decades of characters.
Kish Prime and I have been around for a few decades at this point.
Yes. Yes, Kish Squared recently celebrated the entry into his 5th decade of life.
Yes.
So congratulations on that.
And lest the phrase 5th decade confuse everyone, I did not turn 50. I turned 40.
Yes, he's beginning his 5th decade.
Yes. It's not a race, but Kish Prime does have about a 20-month advantage.
There's one thing I'm going to win in life. It's the race to the end.
All right.
That's a good way to end the sponsor sting for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like we are ready to switch over to Meat Bomb and Flakes. So let me go ahead and flip over to this. I'm very excited by this matchup. Again, this is winners finals. I do believe this is a best of 5. Yes, it is confirmed as being a best of 5. So,
confirmed best of 5.
Any part of this tournament that ends in the word finals has best of 5 attached to it. So this is the winners finals. Best of 5. And while we are running this match, we are going to finish out the losers bracket, get down to losers semifinals round. So we should be ready to flip over to that once this set is done.
What do we think there's some mind games being played here? Maybe Flakes is actually playing Tark underneath that blind pick?
It's impossible to know what goes on inside the mind of Flakes.
That is true. I've never really known.
For example, would he want us to buff base or nerf base? It's just impossible to know what he's thinking.
Yeah. Does he think base needs more options or less? I don't know. We'll just have to flip a coin and see.
It would be nice if he was a little bit more communicative of his opinions in regards to balance and which characters should and should not be banned.
Especially base. Just never talks about base.
Yeah, it's interesting.
We joke, but we do, again, as Squid was saying, if you are out there and you're not part of the community yet, we do have a very active community that talks a lot and has a lot of conversation about things like balance and even just having fun with Mega Man. So I would say there's an awful lot of conversation about Mega Man. If you like that kind of thing, definitely come out. Oh, and Proto, he did leave the base for this one.
Flakes is not confident in this matchup. I think he and Meat Bomb have had enough sets that he just is Not sure exactly how to lock in on fighting against.
It's been a challenge.
Against Tark. And I'm sorry, just so you know, Prime, because I'm not sure how much you were able to watch. They already played in pools.
Ah, okay.
And
how did that go?
Meat Bomb cleaned up Flakes in one of the more lopsided sets that we watched.
Yeah, this has been a challenge, and Flakes has the most second places of anybody in the server. He seems to have a couple of matchups that just keep sticking him at the end of tournaments. And
what a beautiful combo shot off of that Tingle, by the way.
A really nice end to that stock.
So Proto-Man, again, another character we haven't seen yet. He specializes in reflecting shots back at people, but one very unique element of Proto-Man is that his charge shot will combo. And so if he can land a combo shot or charge shot off of a hit, it will land and deal a lot of damage. Anytime you see those orange sparks in this matchup, I believe that's the only combo shot that either character is going to have. Now, Meat has done an amazing job there of catching back up.
Yeah, he cleaned that up real nice. A little questioning Meat's continuing to throw out projectiles the second he gets back, because Flakes is literally just standing there waiting for them. But the pressure is intense. He did get all the EP off, but that's not quite victory.
Wow, so Flakes was able to pull off the win there. Now, another very important part about Proto-Man is that he takes 50% more damage, which is an homage to his taking more damage in Mega Man 9 and Mega Man 10 as playable character. So, he does not take double damage like he often does in those games, or he did in those games, but he does take 50% more damage. A lot of players liken him to a glass cannon hiding behind a mirror. I don't know that anybody actually alludes to him that way.
I mean, it's fair to describe him that way, I believe. Oh, now we've changed the name again. Wonderful. We had a recent fix to some of Proto's moves that made them a little more accurate on the hitboxes, and it has made him more challenging to play, so it really is impressive to see Flakes bringing him out and still doing quite well with him.
Yeah. Yes, it was not unheard of for Proto-Man mains to sit in the corner and hold the shield button and hope to win. Especially with the charge shot overlapping his body a little bit more. Now that that's the case, they are expected to do a little bit more than that.
Yes. You can sit in the corner, but you can't have quite as much offensive potential as you used to with the overlapping hitboxes being cleaned up. So yeah, that was really fun to watch the mastery of controlling the space there. I think the stage helped a little bit with that because being able to kind of camp the low space and still have the upper space as a threat to retreat to forced kind of Meat to come in, and that didn't always work out too well because he tried to use shots to cover his approaches, and those just got reflected back in his face. So that's very normal for Tark, but in this case, it's tough. I don't know how you approach. Like, you've got to approach. It's probably just straight dashing is going to be your best approach most of the time instead of jumping in.
Well, this is going to be a long set. We've still got quite a ways to go here. It'll be really interesting to see whether Meat Bomb just sticks with Tark. I imagine that he's going to view that as his best shot at victory, kind of likewise with Flakes. I mean, I don't think Flakes has a lot of other pocket characters that I have seen, and if he is written off base in this matchup, then he might be sticking with Proto-Man.
I think base and Proto are by far his two best, even though he does, I'm sure, play other characters. So we'll see. We'll see. They're going back and forth with some banter. Yes, Meat's favorite stage is by far Proto 2, the Lincoln stage, as we commonly know it to be, and that was the band stage. He loves the little ledge in the middle. I think gives him just a little extra vertical space to work with if he needs to, like jumping off of dash or something else like that. And even coming down with the dash is pretty strong off the edge. That was something we cleaned up for 3.0's release, so that Tark can now continue his dashes. Actually, I think it was 3.0.1. I don't think it was 3.0. I think it came after that when we fixed Pluto's and Tark's kind of dashes just automatically ending after you hit a ledge. But with that gone, Tark has a lot more flexibility now.
I believe that was 3.03. Yeah, we've...
Oh, okay.
3.0 has had a long lifespan at this point, but there was a major gap between 3.02 and 3.03. 3.03 brought a lot of changes to the game, including the fact that the game is now a 64-bit game, thanks to changes with the underlying GameMaker engine. And so we brought quite a few changes that we don't normally place into a bug fix release, which is technically what 3.0.3 was, but at the same time, there just wasn't enough changes in there to justify calling it 3.1. So, banning.
I would say it was still largely bug fixes. Like, we really do try to keep all of our
It
character
was mostly
changes
bug fixes.
like,
Yes.
character balance patches, but at the same time, like bugs and unintended behavior, we're fine with changing whenever we feel like we need to change it.
Yeah. One of the biggest exceptions was Tark being now able to use his dash in the air.
Yes, that kind of went on the table. We modernized Tark's code base, and in the process, we just fixed that piece too.
All right, so interesting choice of stage here.
Approach. He is just using that speed to just absolutely control the match so far. So dashes into dashes, slides into dashes.
Okay, but keep in mind, Proto Man does have a melee attack of his own. He can use a shield bash to charge forward, and he was able to use that. He also can drop his Proto Jet, which is sort of like Rush Jet. Again, taken from the games, and wow, what a combo off of that. That was excellent. And he was able to bring that stock back pretty well. And by the way, anytime Meat accidentally jumps on that Proto Shield, he does not only, I should say accidentally, every time he jumps on it.
It's not accidental.
Yeah, he makes it his own. It does spend some EP. It burns a little bit of EP when he does that. But they're fighting over who owns the jet, and that's why they keep jumping on it. But my goodness,
I think that added a nice little wrinkle into this. That was a really slick second stock adjustment for Flakes, because that has given him some major cover he needed to handle these approaches.
Yeah, absolutely incredible that he barely touched him first stock, and at this point, Meat Bomb is barely trying to hang in here at this point now.
Yep.
Now, interesting that he's abandoned the strategy that was working so well for him. He does not have Proto Jet out. He's trying to burn all of his EP just on the melee hitbox, and it almost didn't work out for him.
He had a good plan working, and then gave it up last stock. But hey, this is working. I always thought Proto would be pretty solid against Tark. Tark doesn't have a lot of projectiles that would circumvent the shield. Everything's very horizontal in nature, and it's just challenging because you really can't get hit very much, and you gotta kind of nail all of your deflections.
I gotta say, that was a pretty exhilarating match. You don't very commonly see a swing as strongly as we just saw in this game. Again, EP spend is just such a big part of it that mounting comebacks can be very difficult, even if you've got the health to health even. And so, yeah, I don't know. It was flat out brilliant play by Flakes using Proto Man, the Proto Jet especially, to swing that back in his favor. And even though Meat Bomb made a valiant run at the end, that was just pure domination after the first stock.
And then keep in mind that was Meat's counter, so he could go back there again if he wants.
Yeah, you wonder a little bit of why he chose that. I'm assuming he chose that because he expected to camp the platform a little bit, lock down Proto, but Tark really does just want to be on top of Proto Man as much as possible. He can't just sit back and fire charge shots.
I don't think it's that simple. I really don't. I think Q does okay at range, but your double is kind of wasted, right? Because if you're going to fire the double, you're just going to get both pinged back at you, and that's going to hurt you. I think you just have to change how you're playing with Tark if you're going to play at a distance, but I don't think it's impossible. The proto charge shot is always going to be the thing that drives so much of this matchup, because the proto charge shot, with its ability to combo off reflected projectiles and its insane charge time, just does so much damage when you're throwing projectiles at each other. That said, very small hitbox, very hard to land from across the stage, just raw.
Well,
I don't know. It's interesting. I think all ranges, they both have things they want to do. But Tark, since Tark doesn't have combos, I don't know if being right on top of Proto really does do a whole lot for him.
It's hard to say, because he can drop the Tark cross, which has a very powerful overlap, but there's always a danger in that cross, because Proto's reflection is a direct counter to that. As large as the cross is, and as easy it is to normally land, yeah, and there we go. We do see the switch from Tark. Meat has said, I'm done with Tark. We're going to try a new character here with Iceman, which is yet another character we have not seen yet in this tournament.
This is going to be very interesting. It was Meat's counter pick, so he gets a chance. he's down 0-2 right now. He's going to try something else to see what happens, and then when Flake starts countering different stages, he'll know if he has another tool in the toolbox for those different stages, because he's obviously going to try and make it as hard on Tark as he can. If this works here, then gives him another option elsewhere. Meat has about 5 different characters he can play at a pretty darn high level.
Yeah, the danger, of course, is naturally Proto Man is, because Flakes picked his character first, Meat Bomb's able to take advantage and select one of his counters. If he does win this, then, now Flakes gets to react to that counter, or to that option. So, again, Iceman, another character we haven't seen. He has a combo option with those icicles that get tossed out there, that if he can lock down Proto Man, he can combo with that, and he also has his freeze shot, which holds him in place. I could barely get that out before Meat lost his first stock, and so this might be a pretty quick match unless he can turn something around here.
Yeah, what we saw at the very start of the match was essentially just Proto abusing the timer on that charge shot. Ice is a slow character, and he can only put out so many projectiles at once, and he just doesn't have the time to do what he needs to do. Time does not benefit him in this matchup. So if you can slow down a character with Iceman, you can do okay in matchups. He cannot slow down Proto Man.
What do you think about this stage choice? It's a very open stage, very flat stage. I'm just not seeing this as the choice. Like a stage with a platform in the middle, the skull stage, for example. Something where he could actually stay on top of Proto Man, above him.
He's staying above him fine. Without platform stages being in play, I don't know that you have better. I just don't know what tool Ice really has here to leverage. He has no way to drain EP like Tark was forcing Proto to constantly burn EP. Ice literally just throws like one projectile across the screen and waits for him to reflect it back. By the time he reflects it, he has his EP fully back again. Like his EP was full that entire round.
Yeah.
Unless he decided to pull out a tango. And he just lobbed charge shots till he won. So if you can't, throw some volley at him to at least drain the shield while he has to sit there in defense mode, Ice almost needs like a Gatling from above base style just to drain his shield EP enough to get him vulnerable. So,
well, like you said before, it was something that he wanted, or he obviously took the opportunity to try it, and the last of, his last chance in a best of 5, just was not able to pull it off. Flakes clearly has put a lot of effort into his Proto Man, in addition to base. He's very well known for his base play, but I gotta say the motions, the movement that I'm seeing out of his Proto Man, the wave dash jumps, keeping the shield out in front of him.
He was doing dash combos against Tark at least 2 or 3 times a game. Well, I shouldn't say. I think there were at least one per round. He had a dash combo off on Tark because Tark kept having to approach. But yeah, that Ice. Don't be deceived by that match. You play Meat's Ice, you will lose some rounds. He put some time into his Ice too.
Yeah.
So it is it's a rough matchup. It was experimental, as Meat himself said in the chat, and it didn't work out this time. But you got to try it sometimes. Like the hot base earlier, that was also fun.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do now is flip over. It looks like X-Vile and Soundwave are still in the middle of their set. In fact, let me go ahead and pull up the bracket here just so that we know where we are. So, after Flakes and Meat Bomb's matches fully reported, we'll see that Flakes is advantaged to the grand finals, which means that he's guaranteed top 2 at this point.
Hey, and he's in the best position he's ever been in to finally take home a first. Am I wrong on that? Has he not won a tournament yet?
I don't believe he has. Like you said, he has a lot of second and third places to his name. So, yeah, this is a great opportunity for him to take home the gold.
Meat confirms that he has not won one yet either. Sheep has taken home the majority of the last 2 tournaments. So, there's a good chance for either of them to come home with their first title today.
Meanwhile, Jose is a well-known defender of titles. He has won many, many tournaments, and so he's sitting down here in the loser semifinals, probably gonna in a position to say, hey, don't count me out yet. I am coming back through losers bracket. He dropped 1 set he did drop 2. but some of that might have been his character choice. So we will find out what's going on with Jose as he maybe turns up the heat a little bit on his opponents. So yes, we do see that Flakes is here now. Meat Bomb is guaranteed top 3. Jose is guaranteed top 4. Meanwhile, we do have Soundwave versus X-File. This match should have been going this whole time. The counter's at 10 minutes, yet we don't have any reported matches. So either they were having some technical difficulties, or they just simply haven't reported it. Anything. So let me go ahead and flip over.
They're playing their match right now. They just
okay. So we're gonna flip over.
Oh, maybe they were playing friendlies while they waited. He just forfeited. So either he has conceded the round. Oh no! It looks like Sound has chosen to be done. So heck of a tournament from Sound. Amazing run, amazing sets. And
he has a lot to be proud of.
I will be moving on. He absolutely has a lot to be proud of. That was a pretty crazy day for him, and a lot of top player wins.
Absolutely. Played some very exciting matches, all recorded, all on the YouTube channel here. So yeah, we've had some amazing matches already. I'm sure we've got a few coming up. But if Soundwave has lost, I believe what we're going to find is that X-File and Jose will be up next. So,
all right.
Let me go ahead and flip over to Jose's stream. Find out. We're about to get going on this.
Is Jose the one that will be streaming this one?
Well, I don't know for sure, but I do know that.
Never mind. I guess Soundwave was not forfeiting the set, but just that one game. So my bad. I've read it incorrectly. So they are going to continue playing.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, what's our match count at? Oh, X-File's up 1-0. So apparently they must have had some technical difficulties going for 10 minutes there, but it does appear, especially given on screen, we can see they're still in the double blind selection, that was round 1. That's interesting.
All right, we are finally caught up.
We got there.
So it takes us oldies a little longer to get caught up than some of y'all.
I have to say, I was able to successfully set up this YouTube stream configuration, as I did so in a panic about half an hour before the tournament began, thanks in large part to my teenage son. I have never felt older in my life, as I have had him show me all of the YouTube settings that I needed to check in order to make this stream happen. So
he set up all the YouTubes for you.
Shoutouts to Kiss Shark, and you can check out his YouTube channel. He has a YouTube channel in which he plays virtual reality games, KISHARK. And I will put my stamp down, though, and I have informed him in very firm terms that when it comes to the two of us, I am the better one at programming a VCR. So, we both have our technical specialties. I think that places us on even footing.
Square just pulled a "let me have this."
And also get off my lawn.
On cleared. So
okay.
It looks like Sound is switching to Quick. Was he playing Quick earlier at all? I know he's played Quick in past tournaments.
Yes, he did play a Quick Man against Danny's Snake Man. He actually won against Danny's Snake Man with Quick Man. And funny enough, he switched off of Quick Man. Trying to remember who he switched to. It might have been Magnet. No. Danny ended up going Magnet. Either way, round 1, Sound won, Quick versus Snake. Round 3, they both ended up playing different characters. Danny won round 2. Sound pulled it off in round 3 by switching to another character. Oh, Shadow Man. He played Shadow Man against Danny's Magnet Man. So Sound's got quite a few characters that he can pull out.
Oh, I had no idea he played Shadow too.
And I criticized the choice because he took Danny, who had picked Magnet already. Well, I shouldn't say that. He picked Skull Boss, which has verticality, which caused Danny to switch to Magnet. And then he switched to Shadow Man, which I said, I feel like Shadow would have done better without the platforms. But he pulled off the win. Nope.
I mean, maneuverability under platform, like even just having a bigger stage is not necessarily bad for Shadow Man if he has the maneuverability to control it. But generally speaking, no one has the maneuverability to avoid shots forever in this game just because of the nature of the projectile spam covering the screen in many matchups. So,
well, I mean, what it came down to was,
we have a sword man.
Oh, whoops! Yeah, we are. Let's just jump right into this match. More important things are happening here. That's old news. This is new news. Swordman, yet another character we haven't seen. So one of the representatives from a non-8-bit Mega Man game, brilliant sprites created by Xe or Xe Cobb, and follow her on Twitter and find a lot of her creations in this game. And Swordman is a character who was actually designed by none other than Kish Prime. So tell us a little bit about Swordman, Kish Prime.
So you're gonna see that the bread and butter, like normal, is effective when you do hit someone with the first normal shot. That usually is guaranteed into the second, depending on spacing. There's also some cancels that you can do to end their end lag, and it looks like Sound is just going to retire from this game. Nevertheless, I'll just keep talking about Swordman a little bit. Sword requires you to understand a bit about his cancels. So all of his moves, all of his normal shots can be canceled with jump, with dash attacks, and that helps you to end some of the lag off of his normal attacks, and with obviously limitations into what you can do out of it. The dash is really critical, and having to dash too much often leaves you pretty short on EP. But his EP is not. It is largely critical just for the dashes, and especially having some EP on reserve for the dash attacks. Those can really extend combos and make the damage spike. So he has a lot of tools. The two other main moves he has, the Sword Spinner and the Sword Inferno, are very strong single attacks. The Inferno is a little challenging to hit people with, but you can definitely set up traps and even combos off of it to really make it a powerful option. It's, I believe, the most powerful move in the game. Compared to Heat Barrage is the second, I believe. So I don't think there's any other moves. What is Hard Stomp?
I want to say that's 8 damage. I'm trying to think if it's 8 or 10.
8 or 10.
Barrage is 10, I believe. Yeah.
Barrage is 8. So Barrage might be number 3. And Inferno, I think, is 9. I'll double check real quick.
Why not? The move list right now. You at some point, even if you program it all, you do lose track of some of the details.
Yeah, things change. Inferno is indeed 9.
Okay, Inferno's 9 damage, Heat Barrage is 8 damage, and Hard Dive is 10 damage. So Hard Dive might actually be our winner. Alright, well, our match is beginning. Again, this is... Well, actually, let me pull up the bracket on my end here. This is the loser semifinal, so this is going to be another best of 3. Jose has gone with Katyusha. We talked about Katyusha before. We've talked about Magnet. And so at this point, we can just lock in and see how this match goes. Katyusha is going to want to get in on Magnet. Magnet has an insane amount of mobility, especially on a stage as open as this. And so a lot of it is X-Files going to just be trying to position himself against Katyusha. But I tell you what, Jose is doing a good job of staying on top of him. There he kind of lost track of him a little bit, but he was able to get him with a tornado.
Yeah, so the real difference here is I think they both have good mobility, but the difference here is that Katyusha wants to get those burst combos off, and Magnet just wants to kind of stay away and ping one by one and avoid those combos.
Yeah,
that's going to be the difference in the matchup. Both have the tools to win. And of course, Magnet's typical move, caging, may not serve him well in this matchup.
No.
When it comes time to, you don't usually want to pull in the people that want to combo you up close. So I think you can still use the cage to a limited extent if you can get a hit and jump away. But even then, Cat can really track Magnet through the air. And that's something a lot of characters can't do very well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, in this game you have a lot of characters, especially characters considered to be the better characters, are the ones who are able to get burst damage off. Magnet is a rarity in that he's considered to be a pretty good character, thanks in no small part to his mobility, but he doesn't have a great way to get burst damage. None of his moves combo into each other. About the closest he can do is throw a couple of magnets out there, go into a cage, and hold the player in place while they maybe take 2 or 3 magnets at a time, which naturally does a lot of damage, but also consumes nearly all of his EP. And he just doesn't have a standard burst damage option.
I don't think Vile's playing poorly here. I do think this is a bit of a harder matchup for Magnet just because of the way Cat can really track him through the air. The problem is it's not that. I mean, Magnet wins EP trades. Like, you can literally just look at their EP bars, like, at any time in this match, and Magnet is absolutely sucking the life out of Cat's EP bar by jumping back and forth. The problem is Cat only needs to catch him once or twice, and you still have to land. So you can try and suck out EP with Cat, and it's not gonna win you the game because, you know, she's still gonna do she's going the damage.
I'm a little surprised he's not using his high jump, his mobility to dodge Gallop with some of these. Like, you know, there he tried to jump over it, but I gotta say, I really felt like Xvile was pulling that back, and then Jose, keeping him pinned in the corner there, managed to get the win. That was a very well played last stock by Jose, especially given the momentum that Xvile had built up.
He was bringing it back. There was some adjustments there as far as just, I think, changing up, not always crossing over. He was always crossing over for the vast majority of the match. Started using it a little bit more as a fake out to kind of, you know, trigger some lost EP on Jose, kind of bait out some catches there. But really, that was a tough stage in some regards. I think that extra, it sounds dumb, but that extra little block up in the middle just gives Katyusha that much more coverage in the air to knock him down when he jumps over. So it's not that it necessarily was a huge impact on the match, but like, Magnet needs to avoid Cat at all costs. So just giving that extra little boost of giving her the ability to cover just that little extra space as he arcs over the top, I think that does actually help a lot, and that's why Jose was happy to just kind of sit in the middle and throw things down as well.
Well, again, this is a best of 3, so if Jose can pull off the win, then he gets to advance into the losers finals, at which point it will be best of 5. But Xvile is on his tournament match here. He needs to pull this win off if he's going to continue. And Xvile, by the way, worth noting, Xvile was seeded 8th in this tournament. So the fact that he is guaranteed 4th place, you know, he and Soundwave really did have exceeded expectations, I would say, with some of their performances today. So very, very big congratulations to both of them, even if Xvile were to lose this match. But the fact that he's still in it and has a shot at making losers finals is a very good performance for him.
Did Xvile have a run to like 4th place recently too? I'm trying to look back at the old tournaments here and see what his last tournament run was. I feel like he had a run recently as well. Oh, that was Hope. Hope ran to 8th or 4th in the last tournament.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah,
so
Hope
yeah,
is...
we definitely have people running up the ranks in different ways. Vile did get a 5th, a 7th last few tournaments. Yeah. Oh, and we did switch characters, so that's interesting too. And this is considered a pretty hard counter for Katyusha at the moment by a lot of people. I think it's I think it's a decent counter for sure.
It is a decent counter. You know, one thing about Gallop, so Katyusha's horse, is that you can KO Gallop before he gets his attack off. And Quickman has an enormous burst of normal shot damage against summons. So a very unique element that really ties back to how exactly Mega Man works in the old NES games is that you can only have so many shots on the screen at a time. And Quick Boomerang normally takes a little while to cycle through, and so you're stuck not shooting. When a Quick Boomerang hits Gallop, it disappears. And so you never... Wow, look at that. See, he was able to get Gallop before Gallop hit him, and so he's able to keep a... He's able to very quickly cut through summons. Some characters with 3 damage normal shots like Quick are able to do that, so he just did it again there. And of course the other side of this is both characters. Neither character can really do damage at range.
Yeah, they both struggle a lot. I think this is really fascinating because there's so many similarities to the Magnet matchup in the Quick matchup, and you wouldn't think that at first at all, but it's the same kind of game that you're playing with Quick that you do play with Magnet. You're trying to keep distance from Cat. Cat's having to spend DP to chase you, and the difference is Quick has about 0.3 extra speed, which doesn't sound like a lot, like, because Quick's like 2.8, and I think Magnet's like 2.5 during the high jump. And just that little extra speed makes it just that much harder for, even though he has to go through Cat, it makes it a little harder to pin him down with the right normal shot.
Yeah.
That will end him. Even though he has less chances, he has less health.
He has less health.
Even less.
Magnet has 100% health. Quick has, if I'm not mistaken, 80% health.
Yeah. Jose has pulled some real clutch transformations here to go in through and save like 1 or 2 extra hits. That got really close there. He had a really good run at the end.
It did, yeah.
And then X-File got the last few hits, but good back and forth.
Yeah, really good back and forth. Jose was able to bring that back a little bit, and even had the edge. Jose got X-File down to his last stock before, or first, and so
did he?
Yeah,
I thought he had to lead every stock. Oh,
nope.
Wow.
Oh, he did until the end, and Jose actually knocked him out, and then unfortunately for Jose, he didn't have much EP, and so he couldn't do a whole lot. But X-File cleaned him up, and it really came down to the last stock play, and X-File's gameplay just, Katyusha can do a burst of, it's 10 damage, is it not? Or is it 3? Is it 11? It's 10 or 11 damage with the full combo, and with Quickman's reduced armor, it's a lot of damage. I mean, you're looking at losing 13 health, maybe even 14 health if you get caught in the full combo. So it's a little risky to go with a low HP character against Katyusha, but the speed is what you're banking on, and that worked out great for X-File in that match.
All right, so here we have an even higher bump in the middle, and yet we still are seeing X-File go back to Magnet. So I think this can be even more challenging in the first round in a lot of ways. The space is actually even smaller to deal with.
Yes, but I don't think Quickman would have done nearly as well in this.
Maybe, but I think Magnet's going to be doing almost as worse. That was a accidental pose, I have to believe. Yeah, and this is already getting very challenging for Magnet right off the bat. Magnet cannot he can shoot as fast as Quick, but his shot starts off slower, so you have to be closer to really get out the damage as fast as you need to kill Gallop. He did make a nice run to come back, though, at the end there.
That was a really great combo. I don't know if Jose was able to catch Magnet off of the Gallop, I believe, and turn that into a combo. If Katyusha can get combo off of Gallop, that's an enormous amount of damage as well. It's just very hard to do.
See, she's just trying to force him down into the lower areas where he can just pin him down for a combo, and it's generally kind of working, but the other issue is, eventually you don't have to catch him much.
To your point, Magnet Man's jump is not even that great here because of the 2 tiles that Katyusha has camping the top middle platform. Now look at that, the aggressiveness of X-File just saying, hey, you know what? I know you're good at short range. I'm just going to camp on top of you.
Yeah, he got a cage off. Actually, he tried a cage. The Magnet got absorbed by Gallop, and then he did a second cage, and the second cage worked. So it was kind of funny.
So really did a great job of making it even, but then Jose turns around and really cleans up that stock, even though X-File had a lot of EP. I think Jose really adjusted in that moment and said, okay, well, we're not going to play that way again.
Yeah, and he's recognizing that Gallop is protecting him from caging too, as much as anything else right now.
Oh, he jumped into that Gallop.
Yeah.
Now, Jose's trying to... That motorcycle, in a lot of cases, can be guaranteed damage just because Katyusha's so fast in it. But Magnet Man has the mobility, and Jose's able to lock him down with a half-stock win. Well played by Jose, and Jose takes the set.
There were some real good tactical exchanges in there. Just changing tactics on the fly and changing the range they were fighting at. So that was really fun to watch. And he honestly, I think he did a little better than the first round, where I thought that he had a worse stage. So maybe he did find some tactics to adapt with.
Well, that was very well played by both players. Let's be real about that. X-File, again, playing very well, taking 4th place in the Summit tournament. And now we've got Jose moving on to losers finals. So let me go ahead and flip over.
Jose still wanting to stop a new tournament winner from taking their seat.
Yeah, Jose is the last tournament winner left standing. Although, actually, I don't know that we have any other ones in here. So maybe I shouldn't speak too much about that because one of our other tournament winners, Sheep, was not able to make the Summit tournament.
Yes.
Although Danny has won tournaments in the past. as well. Would have been interesting to see if he had stuck around, what he could have done with Snake Man. But either way, what we see here is that the losers finals again are a best of 5. And so Meat Bomb versus Jose, we are down to really just 2 more sets short of a reset, I suppose, with Meat Bomb and Jose playing and the winner advancing to Flakes, who is waiting very comfortably in the grand final slot.
Good place to be.
Well, I think it's a good time to once again invite everyone to join the Discord for those who are tuning in, whether you are watching this live or watching it after the fact. We do try to be very active, not only with tournaments, but you can just find casual matches as well. There's plenty of people in the Discord who just love to go fight bosses. Mega Man Arena has all kinds of different available options. You can play online with elevator mode to shoot enemies together, an endless wave after wave of enemies. You can also tackle bosses such as Mecha Dragon, Guts Dozer, Kamegoro Maker. I don't know why that's a boss, but it is what it is. And I meant that from a Mega Man perspective. Pretty easy in Mega Man 3. We made him a little harder in this game. As well as Alien and Gamma and all of the rest. So, definitely join us in the Discord so that we can continue to grow the community and grow the player base.
All right, we're already on to the next round. They set that up very quickly. And we're on a stage that I know Meat hates, so this is his least favorite stage, and he makes it very clear. Jose plays Needle with a very aggressive EP strategy. He burns through the EP very, very quickly, and then just kind of strings it out as at the end of the stock to continue the damage output. And so he's right now doing exactly that. He burned off all the energy and just kind of using the normal shot to continue to do damage, which Needle is very good at.
We haven't seen Jose now. We haven't watched full sets of Jose, I don't think, since the very start when he lost to Soundwave with Needleman. But Jose is very well known for his Needleman play. And even though he largely got rolled over by Soundwave, he's usually very dominant in some of these matchups. So this is a great stage for Needleman, being able to jump onto one of these little bumps and get a boost with his high jump and rain needles down. Yeah, I mean, Needleman is just a very vertical character. He likes to stay above you, uses homing shots. He does burn through EP really fast, and so he has to be careful. He's already almost out of EP, but because of his lead, he's able to, take advantage of the fact that Meat Bomb also was lacking in the EP department.
Yeah, I'm noticing there's Needle. One thing Needle does very well is make you play frantically, and there have been a few things from Meat where you've kind of already seen the forced speed kind of come out. Charge shots like right there being fired in the wrong direction. It's happened a couple times this match, and also just firing them very close together. A lot of times Tark wants to space those out. Now that said, in a lot of cases, Needle spends so much of his time in the air that there's not a lot Tark can do. So all that matters is hitting him on the way down, and so he kind of knows, he's kind of predictable once he uses his aerial attack, and you just kind of wait for him to fall into the line. You just get one shot off. As long as you hit him, it doesn't really matter if the second shot hits or not. But there wasn't a lot of spacing there. There wasn't a lot of time for spacing those charge shots out. He got interrupted. I counted at least 2 times between the first shot and the second shot, which Tark does not want that to happen. Ideally, that's going to cut off some of his coverage, and it means that he's not winning trades as cleanly as he usually can, just with the charge shot coverage.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. Now, that stage I do think helped Jose, helped Needleman specifically, and so
yes.
I don't think Meep should panic at this point. I think he's got some really good stage choices. He probably can predict where Jose is going to want to counter him, so he maybe needs to start thinking about maybe that. But absolutely, I mean, when he's in control of the stage choice, I think that he should stick with Tark.
We are in best of 5, so
yes,
there are a
5.
few rounds here to catch that back up.
Yeah, but he is going to have to win on one of Jose's counter picks if he expects to win this set. So it'll be interesting to see what he does once we get a stage that maybe isn't as favorable to Tark again. But it looks like
on the bright side, I'm not sure if this always plays out the way you want it to, but getting the opponent's worst stage as your neutral stage takes away your best counter too. So Jose is already down what is probably his best counter stage.
Yeah, that's true.
Gives him a little more power when trying to make a comeback. Tark has a little bit more room now to operate than you might think otherwise, because that stage is I know very well that is Meat's least favorite stage by far with Tark.
Okay.
Is neutral stage selection strike this game, or is it random?
It's still random. We haven't moved to a stage strike system just because Start GG doesn't support it outside of Smash Brothers. And we haven't coded it natively into the game. And so we don't really have a great way of doing it, short of, especially when you got experienced players, we maybe could have implemented stage strike for something like the Summit tournament, but sometimes it's hard enough with...
Timing gets tough.
Yeah. It's got to keep the tournament moving, and you have to take 5 minutes to figure out how to do a stage strike. That'll slow everything down. So
it does slow down events a lot, unfortunately, until we get it built into the game. So that said, we are getting ready to go again here. You got, it looks like, the same characters. Oh, I lied. We are going to see the Iceman come out. I wonder if this is experimental, or if he's genuinely thinks he has an advantage here.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this. I really think he should have stuck with Tark. Again, it's best of 5. Don't panic after one round, especially if it truly is your worst stage. But at the same time, maybe he knows something that we don't. Iceman is generally considered probably a mid-tier character, but as you said earlier, he has a very good Iceman. I mean, he has already cleaned up Jose's first stock. He is out of EP, so Jose has a chance to clean it out, but man, he's already done some damage.
He built his big lead on the backs of some really good combos that are EP dependent, and that's where he actually missed that one. That's very rare, but that's what Iceman is going to do most of the time when he can control the flow of the match. Needle is really good at interrupting the flow of the match, so that's why I think it's, this space is bad for Iceman in this situation, to have that much gap between them. But it's also very difficult for him to close, because the space Ice usually uses to close is that space that Needle likes to jump into. So still, those combos are giving him the room to operate. So
that was an amazing performance by Meat Bomb, because all Jose needed to do was land one Needle that entire time, and he was able to connect and I think knock out about 6 or 7 of Needle's HP. There's the ideal right there, what we just saw. Iceman was able to freeze Needleman in place. He hit him with a normal shot and then connected with the Icicle combo. And when Iceman can do that, he is going to have a really good day.
On the dives out of nowhere tend to be one of Jose's specialties.
I tell you what, his insistence on using dive is what got him into trouble against Soundwave's Magma Man. But I mean, in this case, he was probably a little too insistent there. He just burned all of his EP on a series of like 3 consecutive dives.
Yeah, but on the flip side, Meat ended up burning a lot of his EP while he was pinging. So
yes, they are both EP drained right now.
It is very close here, going down to the end.
Jose with the slide vulnerability.
Yeah.
Surviving until the end there. Wow. So we haven't called it out, but for those who don't know, in this game, you are invulnerable on the first 10 frames of your slide. You are not vulnerable for the entire slide. You've got to time that well. And naturally, Iceman's projectiles are slower, so it's easier to time, but at the same time, a slower projectile doesn't move as much while you're sliding. It's, as you're sliding through it. And so you've got to still time it well. And Jose did, knowing that a single connection would kill him, and Meat Bomb's spacing vertically was perfect. It forced Jose to have to rely on slide invulnerability, but he did it twice at least in there and stayed alive for a little while.
So we've got Meat's best stage and Meat's worst stage down. So now we'll just have to see. Now we'll have to see what happens the rest of the way. I'm not sure how Jose ranks stages at the moment for himself, but I do know that those are Meat's best and worst stages that we have out of the system here. So
that was a lot of fun. I love seeing, you said it earlier, and you were proven right. You said don't sleep on Meat Bomb's Iceman, despite the results of the match against Flakes, and Jose's Needle, which is again a very, very well known in the server.
Still a potent force.
Took a loss, to Iceman, even though Iceman is not always viewed as a top tier character. So well played.
Well, Iceman is not a top tier character, but Needleman isn't, to be fair, either. So it's one of those situations where both people playing a character to the best of their abilities, and sometimes just the better play wins. It's not like it was a
Yeah.
a wide gap there. If Jose had 10 more EP from not using 2 of those dives, who knows what could have happened. So
I think Jose wishes he could have those dives back. That was a little bit of a panic move, I felt like, in a situation he really didn't need to panic. I mean,
he had landed the last 2 in a row, and maybe that led him to think he'd gotten a read on something, and maybe just adjusted and was ready for it. So sometimes fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you again.
Yeah.
Fool me 3 times, shame on me. That's how the phrase goes.
That's exactly how the phrase goes. Hey, check out this stage. So we haven't seen this stage yet in the tournament. This is Shadow Stage 2, and it is the, oh my goodness, it is the smallest stage that's still allowed in competitive play. We're about to see here. It's very tight quarters, which explains the fact that Jose is changing characters, because Needleman would be highly limited in his mobility in a stage like this, but Woodman's yet another character we haven't seen. The stage or the character variety continues to be absolutely nuts in this tournament. Woodman is a character who has some unique normal shots. Unlike other characters, his normal shot's on a timer. It doesn't matter whether there's still leaves on the stage or not. He can shoot every now and again, let's say. He's got the ability to have 2 shots out at once. And Woodman is going to want to camp the middle there. He's very good at camping middle area or middle bumps like that. He just wants to throw leaves in the air, have you hit 3 damage leaves, and he will protect himself with a leaf shield on an as-needed basis. So far, this match has been incredibly even. Jose is playing about exactly what I expect. He's trying to hold on to that middle ground, and Meat Bomb is just having to maximize every opportunity to damage Woodman, who, by the way, takes 25% less. He's got 25% armor.
He's the second tankiest character in the game, I believe, to Hardman. And so he takes a lot of hits, and that's really where it's hurting. I mean, it's not so much that the stage has been bad. Meat has landed everything he's wanted to do. It's just been really hard to keep up with the pure tankiness here. And you know, like, obviously the left side does not seem to be going super well for Ice when he gets pinned down there. The leaves cover a lot more of that area, but the right side has been a little more wide open for him. Kind of rambling a little bit now, but the point being that I think that and he brought it back right before that. So you know, he's finding the space. He's got to find some dodging. He can't just kind of face tank, and that's, I think, the challenge of both players right now is they both just want to kind of face tank and blast the other.
It's interesting. I mean, Woodman's challenge is that his leaf shield, as dominant of a hitbox as that can be, is only going to do 2 damage compared to his leaves. But there we go. So you can't just jump onto Iceman and hold that shield and expect to do a lot of damage. It consumes a lot of EP, does not give him damage return. He has to use it very selectively. And obviously we saw that he used it to close out the stock there. But one thing that Meat Bomb probably wishes he could have back there a little bit, I did see that he was just flinging a lot of projectiles into a leaf shield that was already out, or otherwise would leave a bunch of icicles down that could easily be leaf shielded. I think he just needs to be a little bit more selective with his EP spend, because Woodman can negate all that. And if he can bait out a few leaf shields, Woodman runs out of EP very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, and he got ahead at the end of the 3rd stock. Like, I kind of talked over it, and while he was making his comeback, unfortunately. But yeah, he made a nice comeback to go into the last stock ahead, and then Jose just completely adjusted and annihilated. So as you said, I think maybe got a little more aggressive, like actually got a lead, tried to continue to play aggressive, but then the counterplay from Jose was just kind of patiently waiting and taking out the EP of Iceman, and then all of a sudden Iceman doesn't have enough damage. That kind of was what happened there in that 4th stock. So.
All right. So.
But yeah, lots of it. I mean, look, this is what you expect out of top players. You're going to see lots of adaptation. You're going to see lots of changes in tactics. As much as we talk about sometimes this game doesn't have a huge depth of mechanics, there is still a lot of opportunity for players to adapt to each other in the middle of the match, such that we see these large swings back and forth. It's not always just pure, skill questions. Sometimes it is a question of just tactics and how you're using your moves and your EP and reading the other player. Yeah,
absolutely. There in this game, I don't know that it's any different than any other game, but there's a lot of mind games right now going into. Mind games maybe is a strong word for it, but you got to very, very carefully pick out your character matchups. when it's your turn to counter the character, I mean, like Jose going Woodman, Jose has worked on his Woodman, but I doubt Meat Bomb was expecting it at the same time. And so there's not necessarily, I don't know if Meat really had a strategy in mind going into that match for this one. So that was kind of an interesting pick from Jose's perspective, not only just the actual character matchup of Woodman versus Iceman, but also reacting in a way that I don't think Meat Bomb was expecting. Now, Meat Bomb is going to Gemini stage. Again, Jose is up 2-1 here. Jose just needs one more match. And so I'm not sure that Jose will stick with Woodman, even though he does have the center that he can camp a little bit. Yeah, he is going to switch back to Needleman, just not having nearly as much... having far more space than the last match. He's going to take advantage of Needleman's high jump and mobility. I'm not sure if Meat Bomb's going to go with Tark. On the one hand, I don't expect him to stay as Iceman, but boy, did he do well with Iceman on a very similar stage in Proto 2 before.
Yeah, I don't think... I'm kind of waiting to see here, because I suspect we might see Meat switching back to Tark here. Not sure, though. I'm waiting to see what happens.
Part of me wants to say, hey, Meat, Tark is absolutely your best character. Stick with him. Go down with the ship, right?
What do you know?
I said part of me, but part of me wants to see Iceman because, boy, it's fun to watch his Iceman play.
Yeah, it is fun. It's even more fun to play against it.
Well, depends on how much you like losing, I guess.
Some mutterings in the chat about Mega 2 coming out.
Mega 2. Yeah, again, in this game we've got 41 characters, 2 of which are modeled after a power-limited Mega Man. It is ironic. I will say this. For being a Mega Man Arena tournament, we've seen a severe lack of Mega Man players. A very disappointing representation by the Blue Bomber himself.
Yeah, Shape usually carries a Mega backup. And I don't think he's really had to bring it out in tournaments, but he did use him in some of his earlier tournament runs as a backup. I think now he largely relies on Sheep and Met to carry him. But he has a mean Mega, and you have a mean Mega. Yeah. Mega
Man is not a... Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a quality character, usually best served as a pocket character. But
it's
either
more
way,
just when you need a little more RNG to spice things up in a matchup, Mega's your guy.
Well, no, there's... Oh, yeah, with the power selection, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, so we are jumping in. This could be Meat Bomb's last match of the tournament. Jose already busting out those needle dives. One has landed. One at least kept him safe from a couple of shots.
Yeah. He's not afraid to use the EP because you can do so much with the normal shot that you don't necessarily need it. You want to get those... Like Magnet, Needle doesn't really have a lot of ways to do burst damage short of that dive. So you might as well get the dive, the EP into the dives, and then just try and pick off the rest of the EP later. Not too different from how Ice was playing, or how he's playing Ice, but...
Yeah, I mean, way we often say it, right? Like, 2 needle dives in a row, that's going to be tough to come back from.
And then he goes for third. Fool me 3 times.
That's fine, because at that point, you're guaranteed at least a 67%, Anyways, the reality is that if all you ever do is take damage from needles, you will probably win the matchup. Because the homing shots take a ton of EP, and all you're doing is taking 2 damage. Your Tark, you've got 4 damage combos, you've got 5 damage crosses. If you can avoid the needle dives, you are probably going to win the game. But as soon as Needleman lands 1 or 2 of those, or gets you with his normal melee, which Jose is not inclined to use the standing melee, which is what you expect to see in a Mega Man 3 boss fight. Boy, that was a good needle dive, throwing that out there to catch Tark trying to escape. At this point, Jose is...
It's close. Tark did a great job with his movement, playing around him to bring that back quite a bit. So
yes,
he's got a good shot coming in, and a lot of it may come down to the mind games on the needle dive, which, there we go, Jose just won the first.
Won the first mind game. Yeah, I mean, he was in a position in this stock is if you don't get hit by another needle dive, you might well be able to win this match. And fortunately for him,
oh, so close.
He took a needle dive, and that ended up making a big difference in the end. So, what a fight! What a great set. Jose takes it 3-1 in a best of 5 against Meat Bomb. Meat Bomb takes 3rd place in an extremely stacked tournament. So congratulations to Meat Bomb on his placing.
Indeed.
I gotta
Well,
say,
we are all the way to our
Jose
finals.
was money with those needle dives. For how many he landed, Meat refused to roll over. If he had missed with even one or two of those that he threw out there, that match might have gone another way. So he really threw those out there at just the right time in so many situations.
And that is one of the trademarks of his play. I tend to use the grounded grapple more than the dives when I play Needle. I think it works very well in a lot of matchups, and I find it kind of wild that Jose just never uses them. But as the superior Needle player, I tend to expect that he'll follow my patterns eventually. No, as the superior Needle player, I probably should learn from his play and try to adapt more dives into my gameplay. But it feels like a really big commitment, and you're always going to take a hit at the end if you don't land it. So
Yes.
it's definitely a big commitment to get right.
Yes, because Needleman, even though he deflects shots as he goes down, once he plunges into the ground, he's got about 20 frames where he will take a hit. So if you wave dash out of the way of a needle dive with Tark, you can use whatever move you want on him when he lands, as long as you react appropriately. I believe Flakes just joined and immediately quit, so we
That
can
changed his
see
name
that
at
he
least
called
3
himself
times.
Band Needle. Yeah. So let's go ahead and flip over to take a look one more time at the brackets. At this point, I think we know where we are, although this hasn't updated, but we are in the grand finals. Again, a best of 3. This is a double elimination tournament. Jose started in the losers bracket thanks to his pool outcome, and so he is in a position where if he loses this set, then we are done. If, however, he is able to pull off a set against Flakes, then the bracket resets and we will have another grand final set. So that is where we are. We were probably going to stream this tiebreaker round to see who would win 5th place, but with Danny's DQ, we weren't in a position where we could do that. And so
Why don't we run through the placings to this point? You want to run us through our placings, setting
sure,
it for the finals here?
Yeah, let's take a look at that. I think that's a good idea. I do not know how to do that. Let's see here.
There should be an option in Smash GG to bring this up.
There definitely is. I just don't know if I go to, I think if I go to events, it'll tell me. Let's see, attendees maybe? It's just a list of attendees. Nope. Let's flip over here. Events. Results. Somewhere. There's +5 more. Whoops, that wasn't the right thing to click. I'm back.
In 3rd place, we have Meat Bomb. No.
Standings. Not results, standings. All right, here we go. So, I'm going to have to scroll my little screen up here a little bit. All right. So, we have Hope and Ader tied for 7th out of 8. Both played really, really well. I think that both players are extremely dangerous. I know you never want to come away from a tournament at the bottom, but boy, did they! They are both.
Invitational is a little different. So,
bracket.
when you're an invitational at the bottom, it's.
So we are going to interrupt our conversation because these players do not want to wait for us. They want to fight each other. So we already have Jose and Mr. Ban over here. Flakes busting out bass, feeling like he can play bass since he's not as afraid of Needleman as he is afraid of Tark. I don't mean to say afraid of, but he's the one who says that we need to ban Tark because he doesn't like the matchup.
Now, Flakes does have 2 sets here to find some adaptations and possibly change up some characters. He can play the long game more than Jose can, where Jose's going to have to stick to tried and true options more so.
Yes. Jose already landing another needle dive there. I tell you what, with base can come back from a deficit so fast because of his ability to get on you and just not only land a combo, but potentially land another combo right after that simply because he's still right there once it's all said and done. So if Jose was not able to use all of his EP there, he did get about 3 or 4 hits on him. But, I mean, this match is far from over, even though Jose has about a half a stock lead.
We've already seen one major adaptation, though. The first 2 stocks, we saw Flakes immediately go into kind of typical strategies. Ooh, and the double kick.
That was the double kick. Very difficult combo to land, but Flakes is known for being able to do so. Even though he lost the stock, he puts himself in a great position to maybe come back. Now, he is low on EP, but remember, treble can give him EP. Treble alternates back and forth between small and larges. It's not RNG based, and so he knows on the next treble he will get a large energy, although he hasn't had an opportunity to summon treble yet. So Jose, you laying down oppressive needle fire, not giving Flakes a chance to recover, so he takes round 1.
Jose, so as I was kind of alluding to midway, and then we changed gears, there was a major tactical shift after the second stock where really Flakes kind of won the match the rest of the way. Jose developed a big lead on the back of Flakes using kind of a traditional double jump approach, but Jose just owning the space in the air, the high jump space that Base is used to owning. Jose was just completely knocking him out of everything he was trying to do, and that really created a massive lead that even despite some ridiculous combo play, Flakes was unable to bring it all the way back. However, he may have found some tactical changes there to have some success in the next few rounds. We'll have to see how that goes.
Well,
From there, he pretty much stayed at like single jump height the rest of the match. Very rarely did the double jumps.
Yeah, it is interesting. Both these players adjusting to what the other person is doing. We did see, I mean, Flakes busting out 2 of those double combos in a row. Very excellent. Jose landing several needle dives that, I mean, he's not spamming the needle dives. I'd say he's in the zone at this point. Knows what he's dealing with, knows what he's doing, and he's sticking with Needle Man as we go into round 2. As we said before, both of these, between Meat Bomb and now Flakes, neither one have won a tournament. Jose has. Jose is not ready yet to say, all right, I'm the one who's won a tournament before.
Oh, another double kick combo. So I enjoyed the start of the match, both of them calling out the other's jump and neither of them jumping. That was great. But then from here, this is a tricky stage for Base. I'm a little surprised he picked it because it certainly feels like Needle's going to control that high ground if he wants it. But maybe that's going to work out well to drain EP from Needle. I don't really know. Flake's just using some classic evasion from the other side of the screen to stretch that out, but then perfectly setting up a dive counter, and that's why dives are not coming out as much this round. I take it back. He's just going to go back to it.
Yeah, Jose is kind of blindly throwing out some. I just said he was in the zone and he knows what he's up against, but I don't know about the high jump into a raw dive like that. I mean, that just gave like that, like doing a high jump and giving like so much time to react.
It's not paying off against Base, but it's worked for him so far. So this is where the raw dive is kind of one of his trademarks, and a lot of times he gets a good read. But when you've got a player of equivalent skill, you're not going to hit the read every time, and then the pain that follows can be great indeed. So yeah, the change in tactics again, Base staying a lot lower, paying off dramatically this round. Like I said, it really changed the last match when that tactic changed, and very well played, magnificent, almost full 2-stock win. Huge shift.
Yeah, that was
that was as close you get to a blowout in Mega Arena. Yes,
it really was. And I do think Jose kind of let up on the gas there, kind of saw what was happening. I don't know if he threw out another a couple needle dives just for fun there at the end. It felt like he wasn't really trying to land those outside of just, having a little bit of fun, I suppose.
When things aren't working, so I just try stuff, even if it's not a good idea. You're like, things go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it's a best of 5. If Jose's going to win this, he's going to play 2 best of 5s. He's got a lot of time to figure things out. Now, I will say, any stage like this where we've got the pyramid in the middle, so to speak, really good for characters who have homing shots. Because now Jose retreated to the corner here, but if he can get Base to get another double kick combo, he can get Base into the corner, he can just lay down cover fire from a...
Yeah. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. We got a little bit of internet lag, so it happens. But ultimately, he has got to own that middle platform, and he just has to do whatever it takes to get it.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is the double jump's actually working a lot better for base from the top platform, because he's able to get actually more height. If he can keep Needle off of the top platform, now all of a sudden he has a height advantage with the double jump that he was making use of on the first knock quite a bit. So while on the flat ground, he can't get that height advantage over Needle, but on this level, he absolutely can. And all of a sudden, double jumps are back in the menu.
Yeah, this is a double-edged sword type of stage, because whoever owns the middle is going to have the best shot angle. And oh, that was an interesting lag spike. All right, so I mean, Jose's hanging in there, but I do think that he's got to really try harder to land that. Now, this is another advantage to these types of the double kick. Those needle dives are harder to avoid when you use them in the corners like this, like right there. It's really hard for base to dodge that, and so he's going to go all in on that and try to win. And it worked out for him, but yeah, he's got an uphill battle this last stock with less EP.
I think that comeback at the end of the last stock was interesting because Flakes kind of seeded the middle ground, just tried to play from the corner a little bit. It did not go well.
No,
but that said, just ran back in the middle and just completely owned the space again. So this is getting tough for Needle now. I feel like the flat stage, Needle did fine. I feel like as soon as you start introducing height differences, it got messy for him. Base just has ways to optimize around those height differences that doesn't seem like Needle can quite take advantage of the same way. You can get dives when you force people to come up and around corners. And he did get 1 or 2 off on him. But again, like, he really doesn't have any way to maximize damage bursts. And if you can't land, 2 per stock, that gets rough. Like 1 or 2 per stock, like is your target. Like you got like 1.5 per stock, I would say, is what you need to hit as Needle, if that's what you're going for with your EP burst options. So yeah. But flats are off the table for Jose. So he does have to choose a stage with platform, and he isn't going to change characters. He is going to stick to Needle to the end. So
all right, this could be our tournament match, everyone. So if
base... Flake's first tournament win, he's a tournament point right now.
Jose
immediately
I'm sure will have something to say about that, but I tell you what, it's been a great set so far.
Boy. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't even know what to say. Like, Flakes is really just, he was using a lot of vulnerability, a lot of like sliding vulnerability. He was landing combos from across the stage, but that Needle pressure is keeping this match a lot closer. Fighting across the stage is going to be tricky, but he really doesn't want to eat those dives.
Yeah.
We'll see if that works out. Now trying to use that middle platform the same way he did last time to really own the double jump space again. We'll have to see if that changes things. He is a touch behind right now. Ooh, that Needle dive almost got him.
That whipped dive. I tell you what, Jose is doing a great job of hanging in there. Oh my goodness, what a cleanup. Very little EP spent. Honestly, he didn't even have to use it. He didn't use any EP, I don't think, until he had to dodge treble.
And Flakes dies with a full EP bar. Ooh, I think you want to get that dive.
What a fake out. Yeah. Flakes, props to Flakes for not panicking there and trying to get out of there, because Jose anticipated he'd try to leave, and he did not leave.
I'm not sure if Jose was trying to call out a dash from the corner, or if he was trying to get closer and didn't quite make it. Ooh,
there you go.
Use a little bit of trouble.
So Jose used a little bit of EP to close out the stock.
And this is it. Last stock. Can it be finished?
So I've got bad news. The stream locked up on my end.
I still have it. So it is still really close. Jose actually has about a double life bar advantage right now, but he is out of EP. We are bringing it back. Kick combo in the air, but base does not pull it out this round. Jose's able to close it out.
All right. Well, congratulations to Jose, and I apologize to our viewers because we just brought our stream back in. And so we got to see Jose's celebratory pose there. I have no idea what happened there to the stream. I'm glad you still held on to it.
Jose's stream did not crash. It was not Jose's stream that was the problem.
No, it's interesting because I didn't lose internet because I still heard you just fine. But yeah, the stream locked up on my end. So, all right. Well, thank you for the play-by-play. That at least kept us in the loop there. We are not done yet.
Yeah, we're going to Game 5. Going to Game 5. So now, what does Flakes think of the last 4 rounds?
Yeah, can you give us a little bit of your perspective on, like, what did Jose do there at the end to really, I mean,
I mean, he hit his dives, frankly. Like, that was the difference on the last stock. He called out a few dash throughs and hit his dives, but that's why I think Flakes was trying to play from across the stage at the start of that last round. And it kind of worked for him early, but then it kind of slid back the other way. It's not, I mean, playing from across the stage turns the game a little bit into a pure dodge skill match, right? And you're never going to hit 100% of your dodges, but like the premise, I think, that he could win with 4 damage streams more so than the 2 damage coming back, was an interesting play, and I think it ended up being pretty much dead even, which is why then they both kind of like looked for areas to advantage the rest of the round that were different, because rather than go with a 50-50 shot, you, as a player, we always want to find a way to like win, you know, via more direct interaction and skill in some ways. So I think that's what kind of happened there, and they started trying to play around each other a little more, and that's when the dives became a little more critical. But yeah, the end stock started with a couple of nice dives by Jose, and it turned into a back and forth where Flakes stayed in it the whole time, but definitely was fighting from a disadvantageous position, and actually lost his third stock with full EP. That's a lot of combo damage left on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot. We've talked about that a few different times in this tournament. For anybody who's not familiar with competitive Mega Man Arena, EP usually equates to damage, and so if you lose a stock with a bunch of EP, that was damage you left on the table that is probably going to bite you in the end. And if from the other side of it, if you can knock out your opponent before they have a chance to use all of their EP up, then you know that's how you win some sets. That's how you win some matches. So props to Jose for being able to clean up really quickly. But I did notice that Flakes played very passive, like not passive, but very ranged. He wanted to fight ranged.
First two times, yes.
Yeah, you're right. He did start to approach a little bit more, but Jose handled that well. I mean, it's not like Jose had like, you know, one that had a full stock lead and
it was pretty even.
Tried to come back.
It was pretty even. That's where I said, like, I think they both started looking for somewhere they get a little bit of an advantage instead of kind of the stress of constant evasion.
Yeah,
because that is stressful as a player, to like having to be thinking constantly about how do I evade ever this flow of bullets coming in at me? And then it's also hard to keep track of if you're winning or losing when you're doing that. Like, that can be a challenge. Like, it's one thing to watch life bars, but it doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. No, there's a sense of control when you're getting knocked down. There's vulnerability windows, and if you can't take advantage of those, you know, like at range, it's harder to take advantage of invulnerability windows. So you take a couple hits without getting return fire in, and it can swing very wildly.
All right, so for those who are watching this live, I know we're a little bit of just waiting for these players to figure out the stage, but we are where we are. We're in the grand finals. Flakes, whose name is Banmi currently, the bass player, is sitting in grand finals on the winner side, which means that if he can pull off this last win, then he will win the entire tournament. So this is still tournament match for Flakes. If he can win this, he will win the whole thing. The set is currently tied at 2. It is 2-2 in a best of 5. Jose, meanwhile, if he wins this, then we will have to go through another best of 5 in order to pull off the win one way or the other. So everything comes down to this match in this moment. It looks like we're going back to that tight stage, very close quarters in Shadow 2. And interestingly, where Jose went Woodman on the stage before, he has decided to stick with Needleman. And this is Flakes' counterpick.
Pure mess. This is going to be chaos, and we're already seeing that. No combos, trading hits, close range. It's going to be wild.
Jose's got to decide if he wants to play close range or not close range. Now, that was interesting. He caught Flakes in a little bit of a mental lapse there, I think.
Well, no, this is why the stage is bad for base. Like, this is why I'm a little confused by the pick, because base can't fight through that middle platform at all. He cannot come off that middle, or he's going to be like just trapped by that needle homing shot.
Yeah.
And everything else going on, because he cannot shoot through that at all. He cannot do damage there.
That's true. So Base's shots hit a wall and they disappear, unlike most other shots in this game.
Uh-huh.
Now, so Jose
that makes
mistakenly
very challenging.
Mistakenly used up some EP there at the end. They didn't have to, but he was able to get out of the corner. Something else that we haven't called out, for those who don't know, Needleman actually has an active hitbox on his needle. It only works if the opponent is above you and comes down on you, but right there, Base took a little bit of damage. coming down on Needleman. Jose is occasionally positioning himself directly below base, number 1 for that needle noggin, as we call it, but also number 2, base cannot shoot straight down. And you're right, Prime. This is turning into a little bit of a disaster for base, who he cannot shoot through that middle platform. And so it's a really interesting counter pick choice, and he might be regretting it at this point.
Yeah, I don't think this was the right one. That's okay. It's if you're gonna play the stage as base, for example, at the end of the last stock, Jose is coming back invincible. Oh well, he's making a little run here. I'll be quiet till the end of this. We'll talk about the end, see if you can pull anything together here at the end. Jose goes for the quick dive to finish it. Takes a damage in return. Oh, and that's that. Well,
hey,
got a good run at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, Flakes. I feel like Flakes gave up a little bit when he went into fly mode and just shot down. And if he hadn't done that, it might have been a little tighter. But at the same time, Jose
that
probably
was when
let
he started to bring it back. He had to change the rhythm of the match, and I think that was actually a fun little way to do it.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's a good point. So either way, that is a bracket reset, everyone. So we are back to a full set of 5, which means we're going to start back at the beginning. We're going to start with a blind pick, which means that neither player sees what the other person is picking. The stage is going to be randomized among a limited set of stages deemed properly and balanced from a competitive perspective. Proper and balanced from a competitive perspective.
Yep.
And yeah, at this point, the winner of this set wins the entire tournament. So Flakes was 1 win away and had a 2-1 advantage, and Jose was able to pull off 2 wins in a row in order to reset the bracket. So once again,
yep, don't underestimate a champion.
No, our prior tournament champion Jose says, I started this whole thing in loser's bracket, but at this point you are the same as me. So let's go. Let's finish this out.
I will say, if he did want to, I think if he was going to go to that stage, I think base needed to play from the middle more. That was one thing where he was ceding ground. Even like, for example, when Jose came back from the dead and was invincible for a little bit, he would run back into the corner. And I think you've just got to play from the center. Even if you had a shot or two, it's too painful to get back up into the middle. I don't know that it's... I think if he was to start over, I think he could have probably won that match on that stage, even though I think it was making it harder on himself than he needed to.
Yeah.
But I think he just had to just stubbornly stick to the middle no matter what, even though it's going to expose you to dives if you play too hard there. It was just too bad. Every single time he got down on the stage, it ended up being awful for him. So,
well, Flakes has countered Needleman with a different colored base. So let's see how this works out for him.
Whereas Jose still supports Notre Dame.
Hashtag go Irish.
Hashtag go Irish. We have that's the sort of the Notre Dame background popping through in some of the color schemes.
Maybe a little bit. Either way, this stage is working out pretty well for Flakes. Now, looks like Jose has changed his strategy a little bit here. If he can finish off this stock, wow, he was able to make it so that Flakes could not take full advantage of that brutal start to the match for Jose.
Yep. But, base comes back invincible, chase you down for a few more kicks. Problem is, now you got to clean up the end, and there he does it. But still took a lot of hits. Used the treble to refill some of that EP he needed. So now it's just a matter of getting some of that EP out on the board before he dies.
Yeah, Jose has found some luck in sort of like walking and shooting, but you got to be really careful with that because base can just turn around and do the combo and when you're right in his face like that. And I do think Jose is not taking his invulnerability seriously. He's trying to fake him out a little bit with some movement that really he should just be running away from him.
Yeah, there have been some brilliant dives this round, this stock, to bring it a little closer.
Yes.
He definitely upped the game a little bit, that stock, and now has it very close for the end game situation here. Though he did pull a lot of EP out of Jose before he died there, Flakes did.
There, look at that dive. Great. And he did a good job of avoiding him at the start of the stock, too.
I mean, it was timed almost perfectly off the invulnerability. He came out of the invulnerability right into a needle dive, and
yeah,
just perfectly timed. But base is sometimes just too good. There were several double kick combos in there, a few single kick combos. I don't know. I'm just gonna kick you till you die.
That was. Oh man, so well played by Jose at the start of that stock, and hard to tell in real time, but I'm pretty sure he took a lead at some point, other than the fact that base was still sitting on his treasure trove of EP, and like you said, was able to just kind of sit and wait for Jose to be in exactly the right position to land a couple of those kick combos, double kick combos. And once Jose was out of EP, he just didn't have much choice other than to sit there and take it.
So one thing Base is trying to do here, and this comes back to the idea that I was saying earlier, that Base can't function in the same double jump space he usually can, but he wants to get at that close horizontal parity to Needleman. So since he can't do it in the air like you might do against a lot of matchups, he's gotta wait underneath, dodge a few homing shots, and then take advantage of the predictability of Needle falling to combo. The problem with the predictability of falling, of course, is the dive. And so that's the big mind game that's going on as he's shifted to playing lower. He's got to play under Needle a little bit, get that space, and then land those combos. Because that's the one moment he has Needle locked down is when he's falling. He just has to keep that spacing perfectly out of dive range and then follow up with a combo. But Jose's real good at finding those dives.
Yes.
As much as we laugh at the one that looks crazy, but that's the mango, right? 5 times in a row you charge in, you look amazing because you're reading everything perfectly, and then you try it one more time and your reads off a little bit, and you just get whipped for it. And that's gonna happen when you're playing at a high level and you're playing a reads-based game. That's okay. That just happens sometimes.
Yeah, I think in this matchup, Jose is relying on the burst damage that comes from the dive. He's pretty clearly avoiding the use of a standing melee move. The stab attack from the side is just too limiting and does 1 damage less than the stab from above or the dive from above. And so he's relying on that, but it is a little bit more of a raw call out compared to Base, where Base, he starts his combos with normal shots and can react to whether he's landed the first hit or not. Sort of a classic fighting game situation of, did your read reacts, did I land the first hit? So
I don't
Jose,
think the grounded grab is good at all in this matchup. I think that's very dangerous because Base is too fast. You're not gonna get the value. And really, to counter Base, you want that dive in the back pocket,
yeah.
In the AP. And now look, we're playing on that stage again, and
well, do you notice what happened here too? Because this was Flakes' counter pick, and Jose won with such force last time that he decided to turn this into his counter pick this time, and it's not working out for him super great yet. He has a chance to turn this around still.
Who? Jose?
Well, yeah, because he's down half a stock. I'm
Correct.
Just saying.
Yeah, no, Jose can't. Yeah, Jose picked the stage.
Yes, Jose picked it. I'm just saying it was.
Okay, I thought you were saying Flakes picked it. Yes.
No, Flakes picked it last set, and it worked out so well for Jose that he picked it this set. You don't see that a whole lot.
No, that doesn't usually happen very often.
Oh, there's a grabbing stab. Oh, we went for the.
Oh my gosh, a double kick. You had enough EP barely to do that. Oh
just
man,
just enough EP. Okay, Jose is, I think, properly reading the situation, saying, okay, I can't just keep running in on this. I've got to sit back and rely on the fact that Base doesn't have good options when he's across the stage from me. This is really well played by Jose. Look at this stock. Oh my goodness.
Completely. Wow.
Holy cow. All right, so Flakes is trying to get to Needleman. He's got to stay on top of him. He ate a needle dive there, but he was able to counter with another kick. Counter with the double kick. That might be it.
No, yeah, now it's back to even again, and he's trapped down below again.
Oh my goodness, because Jose was able to camp out underneath the block. What a match that was.
Holy cow.
Even with the double kick out of Base, Needleman was able to get to the other side. If he had been a little more aggressive following Needleman, Flakes might have been able to pull off that win, but he tried to stay back a little bit, and it did not work out for him.
He stayed in the middle, which is kind of what I was thinking last time would have been better strategy for him. And for me, it just felt like he just started missing shots, and that sounds weird. But, I mean, Jose's going to be hitting you. Like, those needles come out so fast, you basically are going to take the hits. You got to hit on counter, and he just kept getting trapped in hit stun and put in positions where he just couldn't get his shots out on needle when he was on the edges. So,
yeah. Yeah, that was something else. I think, and Jose desperately needed that win, because if he had gone down 0-2 against Flakes, that would have been a mighty big hill to climb.
And now he's right back in it.
Yep, the set is tied at 1-1. I know we don't have that visually on the screen, unfortunately, but you know, maybe next time we'll get that set up. Either way, yeah, we're 1-1 again, best of 5. Looks like the stage is cut boss, and Jose has yet to pull out his Heat Man in this fight or in this tournament. And here we go, we've got a Heat Man.
This is certainly not what I expected, to be honest. I'm not sure what to do with this because Jose has largely said that Heat Man has not quite lived up to his expectations in the last few tournaments. He tried to do a Heat Man run and he gave up. At some point in that, got frustrated and stopped playing him because Heat Man is not quite the top tier beast he used to be.
Well, he's still got a lot of options. Keep in mind that Jose got pretty well thrashed on this stage in the first best of 5. And so he might have thought, you know what, I can't win, or I did not win with Needleman, and so I'm going to give this a try. Now, Heat Man,
I don't know. Very patient at the start, just watching to see what he's going to do and letting him burn some EP and saying, all right, we're going to wait and see.
He burned a lot of
was
EP,
forgetting
but
to charge at the start of the round too. So now he's charging all the time, but start of the game he kind of tried to play with some normal shots. Maybe not forget, but he was trying to use normal shots and the what do we call this, fire rain?
That would be Heat Pillar. It does.
Heat Pillar.
It does fly out. Now, Base tried to call out the jump, but Jose knew that he was protected by that block, and so he just stayed down there, or stayed low, and was able to get a little extra damage. Jose, so far, landing enough charge shots to make it worthwhile. Now, he just consumed a lot of EP going for a 8 damage Heat Barrage. He used a bunch of EP trying to go for it again, and didn't land either one. It's like
a nice triple timing mix-up. Yeah, this is interesting because both of them pretty much were like trying things out the first round. I don't think either of them have played this matchup before.
I don't know if Jose has realized it, but when he camps his own Heat Pillars, Base cannot land the combo shot because he'll kick into it.
Yeah, that's true. That's challenging to do. Ooh, into the corner.
That was the wrong direction. Base did get hit by the heat shield portion, but that does significantly less damage. Definitely not worth the EP spend even with that. Unlike Flame Man, by the way, with his Flame Pillars will deflect the shots. Heat Pillars do not do any amount of deflecting, so they are not defensive. They just do damage.
I like the move to come in with the little treble dash there. It didn't pay off, but I think changing up your approach is going to be good when Heat's relying on knocking you out of the air on fixed timings like this.
Oh, Jose is able to finish off that stock without burning any EP. In fact, he gets the EP that treble left for Base, so he had a full EP bar. And I tell you what, I feel like he's a little bit out of position right now. There we go. He's able to recover. It's very even stock at this point.
He was finding success standing on top of Base for a little bit there.
With the Heat Pillars out. Oh, he had it and he didn't release it.
Almost went for the hard read pillar there. Ooh, tried to use...
Oh, wow. A five hit point victory for Flakes. Well played by Flakes. He was able to pull that one off. He had to lead for most of that match, or most of that last stock, rather. But Jose made it a game at the end. But yeah, wow. Well played by Jose.
Jose
really
had some real interesting plays that round. There was just using the pillars to complicate his movement, and like you said, his combos did make a big difference. Like, it did impede. I didn't see a lot of charge shot hits from Heatman, which is interesting. I understand they probably are hard to hit Base with, but it feels like maybe 1 or 2 extra hits on the charge shot would have made a difference in the match. He did miss the one call out barrage in the air, which I thought was a really good play. Just happened to miss. But yeah. I think the barrage in the air is a really good tactic against the Base generally, because again, you can catch him in those vulnerable states coming down, though Base has about 5 different ways to stop his descent, so it doesn't always work out. But you can't give Base the air. You just can't. You can't give Base that double jump height, and that's what we're seeing in all these characters, right? They're all trying to deny him that space, whether it's Needle or Heat, or even Magnet, yeah. Some of those other characters. When you can challenge Base for that high space in the air, it's really hard for Base to do a whole lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we say that he's winning half the rounds, but you know. Harder. It's how you approach the match for sure. Now this could be tournament match, everyone. Flakes is up 2-1.
Flakes is a tournament point again. Yep.
He's once again 1 win away, but as we know, this is exactly where he was in the last set, and Jose was able to pull off the set by winning the last 2 matches. So this is not over yet. In fact, Jose, even though he's low on EP, he has gotten off to a really strong start here. He just has to keep base away from him to not let him finish off the stock, but he can't do it. He can't get base away. Down. But the needle noggin gets him the stock.
Jose's really liking this distance. He's liking that distance. He's keeping it right around 3 or 4 character lengths, and he's winning at that range. But yeah, when he can get in closer, ooh, nice timing on the dive capitalization there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Flakes didn't flinch at that.
Jose retreating, and it's tricky because I think Jose's always got the threat of pulling off the dive when you chase him, but to a certain extent, Flakes still kind of letting him run away sometimes. Not always. Not always.
Jose does burn a little bit of EP there to secure the KO. That's probably the right call. Almost always sure. Is.
You want to clean up stocks. You don't want to leave
absolutely want to clean up stocks.
Ooh,
Flakes is saying, okay, turning this into a brawl. This is Jose's potentially last stock of the entire tournament. He's got to make it count. And he is not shying away from using his EP. He says, I got to take out this stock before I have a chance to take out the next stock.
Yeah, and he's going to probably get this stock, but it's it's the taunt for the last kill maybe he's going to get in this tournament. We'll have to see.
All right.
Rough 4-hit combo to start. Can Flakes do it?
Can Flakes do it? This would be the tournament, and he does it. Flakes has won.
Has finally won his tournament after a bracket reset that put him in danger.
Unbelievable.
Congratulations, Flakes. Honestly, I probably would have picked Jose to win the second set after the first set, but just great adaptations. Great play by both sides. Man, Flakes, you did it, buddy.
That was a stellar showing out of both Jose and Flakes. That was just an absolutely incredible set from start to finish. And yes, again, Jose pulling off the victory in the first set. And then this has not been updated yet, but obviously Flakes will be moved up to first place. And he gets his victory, first tournament victory in, of all tournaments, a Summit Invitational.
Wow. I am so happy for Flakes. There's just nothing like getting to the end of a tournament and not having another set to play, but you're not out. It's just a feeling that is so hard to explain, but feels so good to be on that side of the bracket, the winner of all.
So, well, we're not going to take too much time here, but we'll just kind of do a brief look. We had started to do this earlier. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. So we talked about Draco and Ader earlier. Danny, again, with the forfeit, unfortunately wasn't able to finish out. It says he's 6th place, but technically he's tied for 5th place with Soundwave. Soundwave had an absolute, just a great run in the pools, but when he got to the bracket, he just ended up hitting some of these walls. Wasn't able to beat Flakes in the bracket, and ultimately
in a good set. He had a good set with Flakes.
Yeah, no, he did have a great set with Flakes. Absolutely had a great set with Flakes. But then ended up getting knocked out by X-File. X-File again, what a phenomenal performance to take 4th. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say about that. It looks like he trying to see if okay, here we go. You can look at all the details here. So these are pools, finale. Okay, so yeah, so he got taken out by Jose. So he was in the losers bracket side of the bracket. So he was able to go forward until he hit Jose. Great performance there. Meat Bomb showcased a lot of characters. We got to see his Iceman. We got to see a lot of his Tark. Everybody knows why Meat Bomb is dangerous. And as much as he wanted this win, it came down to him and Flakes. And he, again, keep in mind, Meat Bomb beat Flakes pretty handily in the pools. And Flakes just couldn't find the answer with his base. But in the brackets, when they fought, Flakes went to Proto Man and was able to get the win with some really solid Proto Man play.
Yeah, and that was the key, right? The proto that took out Tark, that was the wall he was hitting, and switching to proto and taking that set with meat was obviously critical because it took him 2 sets to figure out Jose.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, because if he hadn't, you're right. If he had only had 1 set against Jose, he might not have. I mean, obviously, we could say that he lost the first set.
Had things played out the same way, it would be Jose against meat. And we know the first set there, Jose took. It might have changed things up, but that's why winning winner's bracket gives you that extra cushion. But we spent some time talking about Jose too. Like Jose keeps claiming he's retired, and yet is always a threat in any event he enters to take the whole thing. Had a wonderful run, had some amazing comebacks, like a stock and a half comeback, I think, in one of those games. Held off a number of other comebacks where he had leads, and Flakes was making a run back into play and just found what he needed time and time again.
Yeah.
And eventually it just became too much. But man, it was a heck of a tournament and a heck of an ending. Those last few sets were all just so fantastic. Very few blowouts, except for I think there was that one base game. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jose with obviously his Needleman, even a great showing with Heatman, even though Jose has said he's been a bit down on him, but that was just
the
a
Heat round was
showing.
fun. So many characters played. How many characters do you think we had played today? 20?
Oh, geez. I tried to explain every character on stream, and it felt like at least every set I was explaining a new character, even up to the end with Heatman jumping in. So, just an absolutely wonderful display of characters in use. And we saw a lot of different characters being used even by Jose and look, we got Heatman, Needleman in here.
I mean, we had close games with, Hot Man, Gemini, other characters that people tend to think are in like the bottom 15. Like, all had really good games against very good characters over the course of this tournament. And I really do enjoy so many things about the balance of our current meta right now, and it really makes it a fun place to play. I enjoy my friendlies whenever I get to play with all y'all, and hopefully this event pulls in a couple more people into the chats from time to time to play games with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Join us, advance the meta, help us figure things out. But ultimately, a big congratulations to Flakes. What a run. I love the fact that he couldn't just ride base to the end. He had to figure things out against Meat Bomb. He even had to figure things out against Jose. He didn't have to switch characters, but like his style of play had to be adapted. And he rose to the challenge every single time and was able to earn his very first tournament victory. So congratulations to everybody. All 8 of these competitors created a lot of fun matches, but congratulations to Flakes for first place. Heck of a first summit. We'll have to do this again.
Yeah, it was a pleasure joining you, and thank you very much to everybody who participates and makes this community a fun place to be. So we appreciate you all. Can't say that enough as people who spend a lot of time behind computer screens in our houses trying to figure this stuff out. Just seeing the enthusiasm and the excitement that you all have for everything we do is just always the best incentive.
Yeah, absolutely. If not, I mean, let's be real. If not for the community, this game would have ceased development a long time ago. So you all make this game special. It's really not even about the game. It's about the community. And an event like this wouldn't be fun if it was just a bunch of random people. We we all play each other. We all know each other. And it's just a joy to see people displaying their passion for this game. It makes it worthwhile to continue our development. So with that, Kish Prime, thank you for joining me. And this is once again Kish Squared, and we will see you at the next event. Thank you everyone for joining us. We are logging off.